do? Be in Fayetteville. Be in Fayettille. Hogs by 9.
Oh, no, behind! Natty!
Get the buzzer! It goes in! It's over!
Now, entering Natty State Studio, the sports media palace of Mid-America, the Wolf of Center Street, here's your host, John Nabors.
And welcome into the John Nabors Show here live from the Natty State Sports Studios. Appreciate everybody listening in and watching in on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon, as it's going to be a great Wednesday show, we have a lot of things we're going to try to dive into. Going to be joined by former Razorback Tyler Spoon, which is always great to catch up with him, thanks to Bank of Fayetteville right here in the downtown area. Get a little recap of what he thought from the Arkansas Razorback baseball team against James Madison, as well as doing a little preview of what's coming up in Arlington. And we'll have some thoughts about the baseball team there, too, and get some other news, especially in the college sports landscape. But, you know, here we are once again on this show. I think I'm trying to remember how many times we've decided to move on from the Razorback basketball team. And yet, every time they think that we think that we're out, they just pull us back in. Because last night, for those of you who may have listened to the live stream of the great time that we had over there at Flyaway Brewing in Fayetteville, which appreciate everybody coming out there and having a good time and watching it, Arkansas won. And not only did they win, but they won a game on the road against Texas A&M, a team that they have not beaten in College Station under the Eric Musselman era. And they really actually look pretty good doing it, as crazy as it may seem. And Arkansas finally gets a nice little win, 78-71. May have realistically knocked out, dare I say, Texas A&M from the NCAA tournament conversation. People are talking. It could be the case. That could be what's happening. But either way, that's what you got to be excited about, is just to have a nice little victory and a nice little win there for Arkansas. And there's a lot of stuff that comes from it. And I think two of the things that really stood out to me about this game is not only Arkansas holding on to a lead, keeping that lead, and being able to get a nice little victory on the road, but also the two things we all know about Texas A&M is what? Well, we know Texas A&M likes to offensive rebound, and they like to get to the free throw line. Those are kind of the two things that they are known for doing. Well, guess what? They got offensive rebounds, and they got to the free throw line. They did what they normally do. The only difference was in this game is that when they got those opportunities, they did not execute scoring. And you got to score points in order to win games. They got 20 offensive rebounds. They averaged 18 a game. They did their job. But they only had 7 points on second chance points. 7 off of 20 offensive rebounds. They got to the free throw line 39 times in this game, but only hit 25 of those free throws. That was good enough for a whopping 64%. So A&M did their job. A&M played their game. A&M just couldn't convert. And luckily for the Razorbacks, they were able to take care of business and take advantage of that and be able to get out of there with a nice little victory. But someone else that was over there with us there at Flyway, of course, is Andrew Ellis, who's joining us here in the studio too. And Andrew, I know we were at Flyway together for a long period of time. It was a lot of fun, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, but
we were really locked in.
Yeah.
There was no shenanigans going on at Flyway. It was just business is what it was.
All business, because we stood on business, and a lot of great food and brews and vibes and everything. And then you saw what we all saw of, like, Arkansas somehow winning this game. I don't know how. I don't know why, and I'm not mad about it, but it's still kind of funny when you think about they won against Texas A&M on the road, and they led pretty much the entire game.
Yeah. Didn't even really have to work that hard for it. I mean, I'll tell you why they won. Texas A&M stinks, man. They really stink. I mean, of all the Arkansas teams to get swept by, I mean, even Missouri might not get swept by this team. We'll find out this weekend.
Oh, geez,
maybe both of these teams can get another crack in Nashville.
Oh, man.
The Aggies, that's what's tough about it, is like Arkansas, they it was nice to get a win, but it wouldn't have really done much if they had lost. I feel like they were 12-point underdogs. We all kind of expected they would. A&M needed to win that game. That's what's crazy about it, is like that was, supposedly their best effort. That was their best shot, and their guards just weren't good. I mean, Wade Taylor, what do you have, 40 points whenever they came here, and Bud Walton, of their like 65 points, he had like 40 of them. Only had 8 points in the game last night. He might have gotten some garbage time buckets late. Yeah, I guess he ended up with 11 on 3 of 12 shooting. Tyrese Radford ended up with 12 on 5 of 16. Both of those numbers seem higher. Like, I didn't realize they had scored even that much because I don't remember them getting a ton of buckets. But yeah, it was just a. I don't want to say it was a bad performance. I mean, it was a good performance for Arkansas even necessarily. I think Arkansas just kind of showed up, and A&M just didn't have anything. But
no.
The one thing you could tell with Arkansas is that they clearly haven't quit.
No.
They're clearly still trying. And I thought it was funny yesterday afternoon, Tom Crean, did you see his tweet where he's like, I just watched these two teams practice. I'm telling you, these guys are locked in. And hey, there's something to be said about that. Arkansas has not let go of the rope just yet. Now, when they face anyone with a pulse, they probably will let go of the rope, as we've seen. But last night, they did not face anyone with a pulse, so they were able to win. And that's the thing with college basketball. It's not like you have to clear that high of a bar. All these teams are bad. Like, there's going to be like 8 or 9 SEC teams that make the tournament, and I think there's only 3 or 4 actually good SEC teams.
If
South Carolina, we would count in that category, and we're not sure they're good even.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just think that Arkansas, what they've made a living over the past 3 years under Muss is they beat bad teams and they win those 71-65, like those ugly slugfests. And they haven't been in a ton of them this year because they give up like 90 points to anyone good. So it was good to see them win in a familiar fashion. It didn't necessarily give me any confidence that they're about to go on a run down the stretch, but it's nice to see. And hey, their first win under Muss and Reed Arena. How about that?
Yeah, which I don't think anybody would have predicted that. Like you said, that team to be the one that actually wins for the first time in Reed Arena is not something I was circling around on the calendar. Be like, no, it'll happen. But you're right. A&M is not a good basketball team at all. And I guess because what was the first game Tremont Mark have? How many points did he have against A&M in that one in Fayetteville?
He had 35.
So you're talking about 35 and then 26 in this one. So I guess he really likes playing Texas A&M. Something about it. Because wasn't there somebody saying they grew up kind of close by?
Yeah, well, I mean, he went to, I forget his hometown. I forget the name of it. It's like Friendship, Texas or something like that. It's something weird.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he went to Houston, so, maybe there's a little bit we see Anthony Black likes to play against teams from Texas. He had his career high against the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah, maybe there's something to it.
Yeah, maybe it's just something about the state of Texas that they go after. But, Tremont Mark has been the guy that I guess has been the most consistent offensive player throughout the season.
Yeah.
Which is not saying a whole lot, but still 26 points for him, 8 of 16 from the field. It's 8 of 10 free throws. But also, I was really impressed in the fact that he had 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Because I think Scotty was telling us going into the game, what was it in the past 5 games?
Yeah, he hadn't had over 1.5 assists in the last 5 games. Like, he had 4 assists combined, I think, in the last 5 games.
That's unreal. And he gets 5 in this game. 5. And a steal and a block. So
and
really
what's crazy is he also had a ton of passes that led to free throw attempts from Makhi Mitchell, who went 10 of 12 at the line, had his 22 points. Like, it was just that's the dynamic duo right there, Tremont Mark and Makhi Mitchell. Like we all said.
Oh, yeah.
We all knew that was going to be how this team was operating down the stretch, was
especially
two-man game between those two guys. Yeah. But, hey, how about it? Those guys, they've been rising to the occasion. I mean, we've been joking that, like, Makhi's an all-SEC big. The joke has kind of gotten away from us because he's in that contention now. He's been playing so well during conference play and really these last 6-7 games. It's good to see that, man. It's good to see. Probably too little too late. but hey, nice. Like we said yesterday going into Flyway, there's so much pain in this world, but none at Flyway Brewing.
Nope.
There was no pain at Flyway Brewing, not even caused by the Razorbacks.
Yeah, well, we are hashtag 1-0 at Flyway every time we watch a game there. But you mentioned Makhi Mitchell. And him finishing with 22 points, 13 rebounds, as well as 4 blocked shots, 6 of 9 from the field. So it's not like he's taking a ton of shots. He's just being efficient. And he's shooting 77% from the free throw line this year. He shot 65% last year. So you're talking about a 12%. It was almost so funny last night during the game when we knew that Texas A&M was going to be fouling. That we're like, yeah, go ahead, go foul, give the ball to Makhi Mitchell to get to the free throw line because that's where the trust was. And, which is just so weird. I'm losing my mind. Like that not only is he the guy that you want him to hit free throws at the end of the game. You want the ball to be in his hands when you need an offensive possession. You want it to, like, what?
I mean, we literally, all the time we talk about how they can't inbound the ball when they seem to need to inbound the ball in that late game. And there was a point where Makhi Mitchell was the dude who, like, and it wasn't even underneath the basket. Like it was almost like they drew it up so that he would catch the thing. When they flashed his free throw percentage last night, and they said 77%, and he went 10 for 12 in this game, so he actually went up from that. It's pretty crazy. It was kind of jarring to see that number, but then you just look around and you're like, man, he really is the guy you want the ball in his hands, and it's just It is what it is, man. And down the stretch, Tremont, Mark, and Makhi, that they pretty much gave them not a ton, but just enough down offense down the stretch. Tremont, what do you have, like 3 and 1s?
Yes, on jump shots.
It was fascinating to watch, and it really felt to me like just an A&M implosion is what it felt like.
Yeah, because again, they did what they usually do. They just weren't able to convert. They weren't able to get the second chance points. That they got the offensive rebounds, there's no second chance points. They got to the free throw line, just didn't hit free throws. Because if they just would have had both of those things, they would have won this game. But they didn't. And I think you got to give credit to Arkansas for playing some really good defense there on the offensive rebounds. And I know that Coach Muss talked about it being vertical and whatnot. But yeah, the Makhi Mitchell thing is also he played 33 minutes last night. He's not starting. So it's not even like he's a starting player.
Which is kind of weird at this point. It's like, especially with Jalen Graham not even playing either. It's like they're just, I mean, and they've started Chandler Lawson an insane amount. He played 20 minutes last night, but it is weird for like Makhi Mitchell, maybe the best player on the team, and he's like coming off the bench and then playing the whole game. It's
wild. Do they I guess the question is Makhi Mitchell, like if he continues to have like these types of averages through the rest of the end of the year, could he be all SEC? Like
I would have to really go look at the SEC big men. My gut feeling is probably no. And Curtis brought up a good point that last year Devo was really good in conference play.
True.
But it sucked in non-conference, and that sucking in non-conference ended up being what, I guess pushed him over the wrong edge. I think with Makhi, it'll probably work out that way. And also, Arkansas is going to finish like 6-12 in SEC play, so it's not like they're going to be like itching to give it to a guy on that team. But who knows? I mean, I don't know. The SEC, I feel like all SEC they have like 25 people on the team, so who knows? If they have 17 forwards, maybe he'll make it in.
Yeah, I just know it's a lot to ask for someone to be consistent on this team, but throughout, I think 6 of the last 7 games, which if you take away the Tennessee game, I'm not saying that you just delete it because it was a game and Makhi Mitchell had like 1 point, but of 6 of those last 7 games, Makhi's been, I think, averaging 16, 17
Yeah, it's been
points.
a lot. I mean,
and almost a double-double, like with the rebounds.
Yeah. I mean, he's had a double-double in almost every game the last week or few weeks. So,
I mean, I just can't believe we're sitting here talking about it.
I mean, I'm sure by the end of the year, his SEC stats total will be pretty comparable to whoever it is that's on the All SEC team. But I feel like his non-conference and not being in the rotation even a couple of weeks ago, there was a game where he only played like 8 minutes or 11 minutes or something like that. So who knows? But I would not expect him to get the benefit of the doubt. But we'll see. I mean, it's crazy that we're even having this conversation, and it's gotten to that point.
And it's not even like we're crazy. Like, it's not like we're just throwing crap out because it's like, let's have a hot take here. Yeah. It's legitimate. And even Muss said in the press conference last night that he felt like Makhi's playing as good as any, I guess, post player.
I think he's a center in the conference or something like that.
Yeah.
I just pulled it up. So in 13 conference games, what's crazy is he's only played 20.2 minutes per game in conference play.
That's crazy.
He's averaging 8.9 points, 5.6 rebounds, and a block and a half. So like a little step below. But I mean, hey, given his recent trajectory, it seems like he's going to end up averaging about 10, 6, whatever, 10, 11 points, 7 rebounds, maybe fringe, but I feel like most likely he's probably not going to get that nod. But,
no.
But I mean, it definitely, I mean, if the season started 2 weeks ago and you just went off of that, he might be your guy.
He might be. And I'm happy for him. Like, I really am. Because I think going into the season, if you would have had me do the power rankings of the Razorback basketball team, of like the players and where I thought that they actually ranked out, I think Makhi Mitchell, of the scholarship players, might have been number 12, 11, 12.
He would have probably been low for me. I mean, 10, I thought
maybe
he was going to get left
the
out
only
of
one
rotation,
below him,
for sure.
Possibly, yeah. And now you're looking at it to where, at this point in time, current state, he's second best player on this team.
I would say so. I mean, at least he's top 2. He's top 2
because you got him and Mark, and I know Battle played. I mean, he's went 3 of 15, but. He did have 15 points and made his free throws, and I think defensively he was a lot better.
You can't win a shootout if you bring a knife. Caleb Battle took his shots.
He did.
He made 3 of them.
He did.
But he also 9 of 10 at the line. So I was just curious. So here's Makhi Mitchell's averages for his last 7 games. Arkansas is 3-4 in those games. He's averaging 14.1 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 2 blocks.
Wow.
I mean, that right there, like that's who he's been for. I mean, 7 games is not like the largest sample size of all time, but that's a few weeks. And these have been important games for Arkansas. I mean, 14, 8, and 2. Like that's fringe all SEC type stuff right there.
It is.
That's as productive as anyone on the roster.
And I'm looking at the way that he's done it too, Andrew, I think is. And I want to use surprising because I think we've seen even last year there were times where he was. I felt like he was just an efficient player at times last year, especially in postseason, where he'd go out there and he'd go like 3 of 5 from the field, get a few free throws, some rebounds. He was always
he played a lot of minutes. He started almost every game. It was like 34 of 37 or something like that. Like almost every game, he was playing a lot of minutes.
He was literally like the guy that goes in and gets you on average like 8 points and 5 rebounds.
Yeah,
something like that. And now he's doing it to where he's being smart with the basketball. I think that there's been times you've seen him kind of guiding people a little bit. Like get on the floor and like he's almost like he's a point forward type thing. He's being smart with it. He's making good moves and getting to the free throw line. I know it's the most cliche thing ever, but dude, if you're a big man and you hit your free throws,
that's a huge weapon. Because, it just changes the way teams defend you.
Yeah.
Last year they would do that thing where they would, like, go to him for the first 2 possessions. Like, he would always score on the first possession of the game. But, yeah, he's only averaging 1.3 turnovers this year. His last year at Rhode Island, he averaged 2.5 turnovers a game.
Oh, gosh.
And less than 2 assists. So, like you said, he's making a lot better decisions. He's kind of got the dynamism that he had at Rhode Island, but he's, like, a little more less stupid, I guess is what you could say.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, so it's been good. But yeah, we're talking about a dude who, for his career, smart decision making has not been his forte.
No.
But yeah, it's like it is weird. We talked about trusting him at the end of the games. I think that he's the one guy on this team where it's like you trust he's going to show up and he's going to play hard and he's going to make good decisions and he's going to be tough to defend around the basket. It's kind of crazy. This is who they hoped they were getting 2 years ago. And hey, better late than never, I guess.
I guess so. Like these. He's a guy that you're going to start counting on. And I know Arkansas has, I won't call it easy, but 2 easier games at home with Missouri, who's winless, and also Vanderbilt, who's not much better than winless. Because I think their only win is, or they have 2 wins, I guess, technically.
They just beat A&M.
Yeah, beat A&M and then also beat Missouri. So you have some favorable games in front of you, and we'll see if Makhi Mitchell will continue to get to that point. I'm kind of thinking if he has another big game against Missouri, he might be all SEC player of the week at least.
Yeah. Yeah. If you throw it another, what do you have? 22, 21, 23 points? 22? Yeah. Is that what it was?
Yeah,
22.
22
which is
in
a
this
career
game.
high. So
and they had 21 in the last game, which I know won't count towards the.
We said the same thing whenever he had like a Kentucky Missouri game. We were like, if we could take the last week, but hey, that was 2-3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Here he is.
Here he is still playing well. So yeah, let's start that campaign. We'll start there.
Yeah.
Let's have another 20 ball on Saturday against Missouri, which he crushed against Missouri. He had like 19 and 14 last time. So yeah, if he just replicates that outing, we're looking at get those stories ready. All SEC or SEC Player of the Week, Makhi Mitchell.
I'm going to sign off on him. I know we've been talking Arkansas, but I think it also needs to be said, and you brought it up a little bit, but Texas A&M's a bad basketball team. They're not good, and they were picked second preseason. Now I know Arkansas was picked fourth, fifth, somewhere in there, and they've disappointed, no question about it. But I don't want to say here's the difference, but it is a difference. A&M returned most of their key pieces from last season. Now, Arkansas got a lot of transfers, and they had Devo coming back in Brazil, and there was a lot of expectations, also Muss. But this is a team that returned their key players from last season, and they are on track to have not only a season where they missed the NCAA tournament, but have one of the worst seasons Buzz has had at A&M when he's got arguably some of his most talented team.
Highest expectations,
yeah,
for sure.
Like A&M, I'm not saying they're going to fire Buzz Williams, but if you're an A&M basketball fan, I don't know how many of them are out there, but if you are, you got to be pretty pissed off by this. Like, dude, this was supposed to be the year you made strides, and here you are sitting at 15-11, 6-7 in SEC play.
2 games separate Arkansas and A&M. 2 games.
That's craziness.
But yeah, and when we talk about Arkansas, we always talk about how Arkansas under Eric Musselman has those wins in the NCAA tournament and that success to kind of lean back on, and that when things get frustrating, you can always be like, well, they always figure it out in March, and they have success to point to. A&M does not have an NCAA tournament win under Muss. They've only played in one NCAA tournament game, or under Buzz. They've only played in one NCAA tournament game, and so yeah, I think it's year 5 for him now, and you're looking at 0 NCAA tournament wins, only 1 game there. That's a tough selling point for that your program's headed in the right direction. Now, Arkansas is not the one to be throwing stones here. Arkansas might not be headed in the right direction either. But like I said, they have at least some success here in the last few years to build on. And I think that's a great point that, you bring back Wade Taylor and you bring back Tyrese Radford. You have all these pieces. Henry Coleman was a huge player for them last year too. It's like, how are you getting that much worse? But hey, winning in college basketball is hard. But yeah, I think the SEC overall is just a little bit down this year.
It is. You got Tennessee, who's good. I still think Alabama is good.
Both
Auburn
Alabama schools are like pretty good.
Yeah, and
they're at least gonna make the tournament.
Yeah,
and
tournament
could
good.
win a game. Yeah,
yeah. It's not going to be setting the world on fire, winning a national championship, but which is crazy and disappointing too, because there's a lot of coaches that were expecting to take strides. Which even something that surprised me is like Florida's in the top 25. I did not
realize it until you said it last night. I was like,
yeah,
what?
and they play tonight, which is a big game against Alabama. Down there in Tuscaloosa, so
and like if Florida's a top 4 team in the SEC, I don't think this is
I don't know about all that. Yeah,
a peak year for the conference.
Yeah, you have 5 teams or 6 teams actually in the top 25 in the SEC currently.
That's crazy.
But
it's crazy talk.
Yeah, like you got Tennessee's the highest at 5, Alabama's 13, Auburn's 14, Kentucky's still at 17. South Carolina,
what?
Yeah,
Kentucky's still at 17.
At 17, and then South Carolina's at 20, and Florida's at 24. So, oh man, and Ole Miss even is at 19-6 still. They're 6-6 in conference play, but 19-6 overall. Mississippi State's at 17-8, 6-6 overall. So you're right though. There's just not.
I don't know how
great,
Kentucky. I just looked it up. Their net is number 20. They're 18-7 now. I guess they're 3-6 against quad 1 teams. I don't know how Kentucky's net is up to 20. Like the math doesn't really math there, but
I don't know the net. I don't
know the net either. But I really expected Kentucky to be more on the bubble. I really thought they were teetering on the brink of the bubble, but they're 20.
Yeah, I mean it's
19
Kentucky.
in the
They're
AP
always going to get
crazy.
Yeah, they're always going to get those benefits. But still, yeah, you're right. It's like A&M. I think Arkansas bounced them out of the NCAA tournament talk unless they just really go on a run. At the end of the season.
And again, it's like Lenardi. He bumped them down. But I think he still had them either in the last 4 in or the last 4 buys. Like it hasn't really set in yet. I don't know what this resume is built on. I don't know how A&M could possibly be in the NCAA tournament. But hey, it seems like they still have a fighting chance. I'm seeing their net is at 50, which is like prime time bubble.
Oh yeah. And
they dropped from 45 to 50. I don't know how they only dropped 5 spots last night. Arkansas moved up 12. They're now 124 in the net. So,
dude, did they break the triple digits? Is
no,
the question.
They have not broken triple digits. They are still firmly in triple digits.
I was saying, like, if they do that, like, what it would be like almost like a feat of honor if they got to the end of the season and they finished the regular season in the top 100.
And they're going to have to win by like 27 on Saturday to even move up at all.
Which is possible. It is
possible, yeah. I mean, they were up by 20 last time, but
yeah. Well, and A&M, they got Tennessee on the road next. That's a loss.
Yeah.
South Carolina at home, which
that's a game that's like you really need to win that because like South Carolina is still in that range of a good win, but they're not really a great team. They're like an overachieving team. That's one where A&M. We'll see if they have any basketball fans, they'll show up to that one. But
yeah, and because not only that one, but then you go on the road to Georgia, which is always, I mean, they're better. I don't know what to think of them, but it could be a sneaky game. But then you get Mississippi State at home for A&M. And Mississippi State's going to be fighting for a bubble spot in a tournament, so it's going to be big. And then they finish the season at Ole Miss, which is not easy.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, they have a couple of those games that you just really like. At Georgia is almost a must win in that under that circumstances.
I mean, they could finish the last 5 games 1-4. I mean, they realistically
very possibly,
could.
Yeah.
So it's going to be big for Texas A&M. And also, I think we'll play this too. At the end of the game or at the post game, the celebration. I always find these videos fun from like Hogs Plus when they get them, but it was kind of cool to see the celebration of the Hogs here after the game.
The horn sounds and the ball game's over. The Razorbacks have come to College Station and beaten the Aggies. Arkansas sweeps the season series from Texas A&M.
JD again.
Hey, look, we put together the best 80 minutes that we put together all year right there. All right, we should have won the other night. Close game, we lose it, we come in here, short turnaround, unbelievable game. Great effort. That's a toughness game.
It's a toughness game.
I love that he cited the short turnaround there.
Did. Because it was a short turnaround.
It was a short turnaround, but somehow it did not derail them.
No.
Great dub, man. I'm proud of my team. We was able to get it done on the road. That's it. We on to the next one. We on to the next one.
There you go.
There you
on to
go,
the next
boys.
one. On to the next one is what they're doing. So it's just nice to see some of the excitement and the smiling and everything, just because, again, they haven't exactly had it going. But like you said, given effort, They could have easily given up on the season. They could have easily said, all
they
right,
probably
I'm
should
done.
have, honestly. You know what I mean?
We
Like,
did.
Yeah.
We did. Like, we were just like, dude, this is toast. After that Tennessee game, I was just like, just please put it out of its misery. And they still keep fighting. They still keep winning, or at least competing hard. And also after he said that we should have won that game against Mississippi State, which
I thought that was
maybe.
a Mason Jones reference. That's exactly what he said on Twitter. Should have won that one.
maybe that's what it was. Maybe he should have given a shout out to Mason Jones.
We didn't win the other night. You guys didn't want to take the shots, but y'all won the night. Good job.
But you won here. But I just thought that because I saw Jeremiah Davenport in there. And he
looks so happy.
He was happy. He's always energized. I couldn't believe he took 10 shots last night. He went 4 of 10. I didn't know he took that many. He took more shots than Makhi Mitchell.
He missed all the threes he took, didn't he?
He did. He sure did.
But I remember Jeremiah
Razorbacks
Davenport. I don't remember what home game it was. I guess it was a South Carolina one, maybe. But he was the one that talked to the media, and I just remember him being so sad up there. Like he just looked depressed, and it was like you could tell it was really taking a toll on these guys. Of like Jeremiah Davenport. Those Cincinnati teams weren't like tremendous. But he's not used to just being in an inept basketball situation. L. Ellis has obviously lost plenty in his career, but I mean, like a lot of these guys have just not been used to the adversity that they face this season. It really bummed them out. So, it's good to see them still trying, still, as we say, holding on to the rope. But
holding on to the rope, baby. Like, yeah. I mean, what's the best case scenario for this team the rest of the way? I mean, honestly, like, is it
so how many games? It's our favorite game. 5 games left.
5 games.
Well, they're gonna these next 2 games.
They should win all their home games.
They should absolutely. I mean, LSU's is apparently better than we thought, but at home you still expect to beat them. Vandy at home, Missouri at home. Those you got to win those 3. So I mean, what would that bring Arkansas to? 7 SEC wins if they won those 3.
Yep.
I think Arkansas could mess around and get to 8 SEC wins. Who would they have to beat? It would be Bama and Kentucky or the other 2?
The road games, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't see them beating Bama.
They're not beating
Kentucky's the best chance.
Kentucky is their best and probably only chance to win a marquee game down the stretch.
I'm not going to pick them. I'm not going to pick them to beat Kentucky. Hey, last year, Makhi Mitchell, that's the team he loves playing.
Arkansas's played well at Rupp the last, half decade or so.
What was it last year? Beat the crap out of them.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they
and then lost to them in Bud Walton. So.
Yeah, it was when Devo got ejected. But I remember seeing people leave.
Devo ejected himself early from the Kentucky game this time.
Yeah. Very Visa not even
he
showing
just went
up.
in, got it out of the way, just didn't even show up.
He doesn't like playing Kentucky. He doesn't like playing Kentucky.
Speaking of not showing up, Devo did not show up last night.
Man.
It's a rough
7 minutes almost. The only stat that he put into the box score, other than minutes played, was 2 turnovers.
He had 3 fouls in there.
3 fouls, yeah.
But hey, luckily there was a different in-state guard who did show up last night.
Dude, Layden, blocker.
Look, his stat
first
line,
3. Hello.
His stat line does not look super out of this world. 23 minutes, 5 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, block, couple steals. He was all over the place, man. His energy was very palpable. Plus 17 in 23 minutes, he was all over the place. He was jumping on the floor. He was very prominent in this game. And it was about as much as you could do. Whereas, you see some of those guys where they fill up the stat sheet, but you're like, oh, damn, I don't really remember, them having a bunch of moments. Layden was all over the place defensively.
He was.
The 1 block and 2 steals, I wouldn't have been surprised if both of those numbers had been higher because it felt like he was in on, every passing lane. He was there being physical. I loved his energy last night.
I mean, truly the best players in this game, and I'm not saying these are the starting 5, but I'm just saying the 5 best players of this game, of course, was Tremont Mark, Makhi Mitchell, Jeremiah Davenport, Layden Blocker, and Caleb Battle. I mean, that's who the best 5 players were. And guy like Devo was a no-show. And, L. Ellis, I know people really love to hate on him and stuff. He didn't have a great game. I'm not going to say he is, but he played 26 minutes. I think defensively he was a lot better, but only had 1 point. Took 3 shots, though. But, Arkansas limited the turnovers, only 11 turnovers to 12 assists. Had 8 block shots. So, I don't know. I just think that it was a weird game. It's been a weird stretch, but they've got it done. And speaking of L. Ellis, I did want to bring this up, too. That picture of because they always like to take the picture of the plane after a game. Okay, so
it was not a happy flight.
Yeah, here's the picture. What is happening over here with L. Ellis? He looks like somebody literally just, called him a word he didn't like to be called and about to kill somebody.
He looked like he was maybe about to settle in for his flight nap, and then they were like, "Hey, let's take this picture," and he's like, "Had to get up."
Come on, man. But like everybody's smiling. I was like looking at Caleb Battle. He's this close to throwing the A. He is this close.
Yeah,
he looks like he's about
to. Put those together and just go ahead and hit it.
Yeah, but you got I guess Chandler over here throwing the shocker. Kind of looks like it is.
Love that.
I mean, look, Keon didn't play. He's happy. And Devo was trash, but he was happy. Brazil, his knee soreness, even though he's dunking in games, he's kind of happy. He looks it. Everybody looks happy. And then you got L. Just pissed at the world. But here's the thing. He was actually celebrating.
I would love to see like 8 seconds after that photo to see like what the vibes were like. If everybody was like, all right, now let's go to – because, I mean, it was probably pretty late. They were trying to get on the plane. They're like, all right, we got to get out of here.
I mean, how many times do you think that when they take these pictures, do they take it? Do they just one picture and that's it? Or do you think that time's like, okay, we got to do another one, guys. Got to do another one.
I bet it's one quick one and let's all go to sleep.
Yeah, I think so. Wow. And I love all of them are happy. It is so apparent.
He's not happy.
I mean, there could not be a meaner look there. But like, I don't want to start stuff. I'm just saying that he was a guy who was celebrating in the locker room, so nobody start thinking that he's like mad.
It's worth noting that this is not like directly post game. This is multiple hours after the game. So it's like not smiling for a picture is not a crime.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean he hates Arkansas. But
but people are going to start that. If you're like, oh man, he must have been mad at the team. And
he's mad because it's about his role in the offense.
Yeah, he's mad about the fact he got 26 minutes. Yeah, I'm sure he's really upset by it. But I had to show in that picture just absolutely cracked me up. That was outstanding. It was cool to see. A few comments though here. Apparently AC23 says the replay of the game is on ESPNU.
So if you missed it, go check it on the U.
On the U, because they have nothing better to play. Razorback Rock says blocker as wild as Walsh. Let him loose. Very proud of the effort and determination as of late. This game was a team effort for a change. So how about that? Yeah. Okay, so Layden blockers as wild as Walsh.
He certainly likes to. I think I might have said something about how he fouls as much as Walsh, where he's the leads the team in those like high foul games where you only play like 12 minutes and you're like, how'd you get 4 fouls? Like I think he had 4 fouls in 23 minutes last night, which at least 23 is an extended, but he's had some weird games like that. But yeah, him and Walsh. He's the only person that comes close to replicating to the defensive impact that Walsh had, and I don't think he's on that level quite yet.
No,
but I love the way he was giving that effort and impacting the game any way he can.
Yeah, and then Bits for me says Ellis is finally going over screens instead of under. Ellis, not you.
Yeah,
Ellis,
not me.
Yeah.
I'm not going over the screens.
No, he's going over the screen instead of under. So yeah, I like that. And then also Nick says we are 7-2 when giving up 75 points or less.
I'm not even going to fact check them. I'll believe it.
I'll believe it too.
But that's kind of goes to the point of what I was saying is like they won so many slugfests the last few years, and they're not in a ton of these slugfests. Like they've only given up less than 75 points 9 times, and I'm sure 5 or 6 of those were in non-conference play. Like that's tough. But hey, there you go. The key is just don't give up a ton of points, and you might win.
That is a great strategy. I hope they continue to do that from here on out.
It's crazy that it's taken them this long to get to that point where they were like, hey, let's just not give up 100 points.
And when you do that, good things can happen. Because the only game that I think Arkansas's won where they gave up a ton of points was the Missouri game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they had a game against like Wilmington, I think, where it was like 99
Oh, yeah, 97-83 was Furman.
97-83, yeah.
Yeah, that was Furman.
Furman, yeah.
Yeah, that was really high scoring. And then, Wilmington, too, 106-90. I forgot how high scoring that one was.
That's what I was thinking of, yeah.
Right. And then Missouri was 91-84 in that one. But, yeah, not a lot of games where – because that was what was weird, Andrews. Not yesterday's game, I wouldn't consider it to be like if you look at the score, it was 78-71. It's not a high scoring game, but it's not a low scoring game. But yet the offense for both sides, they both shot under 40%.
Well, in A&M in the second half, what was it in the second half for A&M? I guess they shot 26.3%, 10 of 38. That even feels high because there was a point where they were like 2 for 20 something.
I think they were sitting at like 11%.
Yeah, it was. So they kind of got hot down the stretch, and I mentioned some of those guards that had like Tyrese Radford ended up with 10 second half points. Very deceiving because I think those all came in the last few minutes when it was kind of decided. Yeah, rough showing offensively for the Aggies. I mean, look, I don't know what's going to happen to A&M down the stretch, but this has just got to be a game that you look. I mean, really, both Arkansas games where you look back and you're like, how in the heck did we let that one slip? Like, how did we just lay an egg? And look, maybe it's just a tough matchup because you remember when they came to Bud Walton, we were like, man, that's the worst game A&M will ever play. No. Turns out they're going to be even worse than Reed Arena, man. So it's just that's brutal. I mean, and that's where it's like, I think Buzz is a good coach, but that frustration is warranted if you're like, hey, how did you end up being 15-11 with this older roster? You brought back all the guys, and you're losing to this Arkansas team that is dying to lay over and quit. Like they are dying.
Yes, you've lost now 3 straight games, and 2 of those games were to 2 of the arguably worst teams in the SEC.
You cannot lose to Vanderbilt and Auburn or Arkansas in the same week and then expect to be taken seriously. You just can't.
No, which is why I'm not. I'm not taking A&M seriously, and they don't need to be taken seriously, and I don't want to hear anybody complaining.
They should all be thrown in jail, actually.
Yeah, they should all be tarred and feathered out in College Station. We never want to see them again.
I saw a few fans walking out of the arena, and they said, "Man, how come Buzz? How come he can't win the big games, man?" That's what they were doing.
Yeah. Did anyone answer them?
I don't know. I think there might have been a few more. Yeah, man. I don't know, dude. I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's what they were doing.
Yeah, because it's the like that.
They do weird
stuff,
it looks like they're like convulsing almost.
Yeah,
like they'll be
they're having a
talking
stroke.
mid combo and they're like, "Yeah, man, I was at the game the other." It's like they just bounce around. It just
is there a fly around you? Like, is there?
And they're like just
is there a bee going
moving
there?
their body in weird directions.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah, like the only thing that I see that they did, at least last night or just in general in the stands, is when they put their arms around each other and they do that. I'm like, okay, at least I can see like what's happening.
It's like their slow version of the swag surf.
Right. I think honestly, they will probably take credit for the swag surf.
By the way, student sections around America, stop doing it. It's no longer cool. It was really cool for a while there. It's no longer cool.
There's a lot of things that get played out pretty quickly, and swag surf is one of them. Remember the Harlem Shake? That got played out very
Harlem
quickly.
Shake was unreal. There was like
very quickly.
I remember Les Miles had a Harlem Shake. Like it had a real run. But the internet does that where it's like something will be cool, and then like a year and a half later, the weird people get a hold of it, and they're like, do it like the Gritty.
Yes.
You remember when the Gritty? I was actually
Everybody
talking
is
to
doing
someone
it.
about this the other day. The Gritty was cool for a while. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like the 12-year-olds playing Fortnite got a hold of it. It's tough.
Yeah. Cam Little doing it on the LSU logo was...
Yeah, that was Pete
That was
Gritty.
cool. That was pure... Yeah, that was Pete Gritty.
Gritty.
Yeah. And then...
You know what
that,
I'm sick of seeing? I just caught a first down, and now I'm... people that do like the wiping their nose thing, the slime thing.
Where did that come from?
I want to say it's a like a Young Thug slime type of thing.
I don't know kids these days.
Yeah,
and what
I don't
they
know,
want,
man.
and then they're
But again,
machines.
it was cool for a little bit when like Justin Jefferson was doing it.
Yeah.
When the 14-year-old white guy for Springdale High does it, it's not cool.
Is there anything that's like not played out, laid out, and Chick-fil-A'd out? Like, is there something that's like that's been around forever? Every time they do it, it's like it's still going, it's still happening.
I don't know. I mean, I think with celebrations, as particularly any dance celebration, they all get run into the ground pretty aggressively.
Yeah.
Soulja Boy, I felt like did Soulja Boy get lame? I was young. I don't
think so. I think it got lame for a bit, but then it came back, and everyone's been sticking with it.
Well, and then now it's like a classic where it's like, oh, he's in the Soulja. But I remember when I was like in 4th grade and we were in PE doing the Soulja Boy. Like they would play the song, and we were.
Oh my gosh!
So I was like, man.
Between that and then it wasn't really necessarily a dance, but the Old Town Road when all the kids started singing that song like crazy.
Old Town Road was
Nas X,
it got uncool quick, and I loved Old Town Road.
It was a great song, but man, it
was like ultimate ballpark walk up song that year. It was everybody was doing it.
Yeah, it's like when the elementary school, like when I see that video of the elementary school kids singing out Mo Bamba, I'm like,
Mo Bamba.
What is happening? It's like send in the nukes.
Is
Take these kids out.
Is Mo Bamba the worst athlete that's had a song named or even referenced in a song? Like it's kind of crazy.
Tyler Hero might be pretty bad.
Tyler Hero's tough. Yeah.
But it's not that he's like horrible, but it's just like of all the athletes
at least
out
Tyler
there,
Hero was cool with like Jack Harlow, who was famous. It's kind of crazy that Mo Bamba just happened to be buddies with this guy who was a like fringe rapper that nobody had ever heard of, and they happen to have a huge hit song.
Yeah, like I wish I could get that famous. I knew somebody and they could just make a hit song.
And I wonder how many people know the song and don't even realize that Mo Bamba is a human being that like plays basketball.
I was one of the people that actually was that person for a while until I found out later. I was like, oh.
Unfortunately, I was a huge NBA draft guy at this point, and I thought Mo Bamba was going to be a tantalizing prospect. I thought he was going to be awesome, so I was all in. And then the song ended up outliving him.
It happens, man. It's we all get them wrong sometimes.
Hey, we're talking about stuff that remains cool. Anything that like only LSU does, I hate to admit it, everything that they do at LSU football games remains cool.
Dude, playing neck, I don't care what anybody says. That's cool.
Really cool.
And then calling Baton Rouge when they'll start screaming out that's awesome.
That one is sick, man. I get chills when they sing Calling Baton Rouge at the baseball game.
And I'll even give credit to Alabama, and maybe not everybody's going to agree, but I think the two things I remember from when I went to the Alabama game of them doing, of course, Sweet Home Alabama, Roll, Tide, Roll, and then the Dixieland Delight, because that's really who made the Dixieland Delight famous, I feel like.
It definitely did. And so I wanted to, with this, it came on the other day when I was with Curtis and Scotty at the ballpark, and I was like, man, I love this so much. Like, I love, because they always play it after the 7th inning stretch.
Yeah.
Do You Take Me Out of the Ball Game, led by Kevin Trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Were you there the other day when he sang it? That was awesome.
Yes, I'm like, man, Kevin, getting it, hearing it, singing
he was
it.
feeling it. But I love when they'll, like, on a Saturday or like a Friday night, Arkansas's up 4-2.
Oh, yeah.
You got Gage Wood coming in and it's like that song hits, man. But Curtis was like, I wish they could just only play this at Alabama. And I'm like, sure, it is cool there, but
here's the thing.
I think it's like anywhere in the South it plays.
Yeah, but it's a song about Tennessee.
Yeah,
you know, so it's like it's not like Country Roads, West Virginia, and then like other people are wanting to do it, even though that is like West Virginia. That's the one that makes sense.
Yeah,
or Calling Baton Rouge makes sense, but
right.
The Dixieland Delight thing, I feel like, is open because it's like, okay, Alabama, it's not even about you. It has nothing to do with you, but you just kind of took it as
like
yours.
if it's in the title, if it was like Tennessee whiskey or like something like that, where it's like, okay, that is very specific. But Dixieland Delight, that's
just because the band's named Alabama.
We're in the Dixieland. I mean, come on.
I mean, everybody can make up their own lyrics if
you know
they
a
want
song
to.
I like. They don't play it a lot, but the one that's like Alabama. Down to Georgia, when they're like doing that roll tide roll. That one just gets.
I forgot what song. Who did that song? Man, I should know that. I've heard it a million times. But
Sweet Southern Comfort is the name of the song. That's the name of the song.
Yeah, that's a great one. There's something like that we can do it. And also, by the way, Vids, from me, we're not hating on Tyler Hero. We're just saying that of all the songs, because I feel like you got to be a pretty famous, well-known, big-time person to have a song.
I am actually hating on Tyler Hero. That guy's a weirdo.
I never liked him. But
yeah,
I mean,
also he's a Kentucky guy. So like, it takes Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's like the only Kentucky guy I think I've ever liked, or like gone out of my way to be like, you know what, this guy's cool.
Yeah.
And really, he was more after Kentucky. It's not like, you know, but a lot of the Kentucky guys are easy to hate. Tyler Hero was very easy to hate.
To me, I hated John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins. I hated both of them when they were at Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. So I love John Wall. Oh, that was another dance.
Yeah,
you remember doing the John Wall? His debut, he did the like Dougie too. The Dougie was cool.
The Dougie was cool. Yeah, there was again things that were cool for a bit, and then like every so often, I feel like the Carlton dance comes back for a second.
Oh, the Carlton,
yeah. Everyone does that for a little bit, so I don't know. Like, the dances.
Tyler Hero. It's not that he's bad. It's just that he's one of the worst basketball players to have a song named.
That's
after
what we're saying.
Gotta be. I mean. That'd be crazy if there was like, you know, a Malik Monk song.
Yeah.
Who's like, you know, Malik Monk and Tyler Hero comparable NBA players. Yeah. If there was a song named Malik Monk, we'd be like, hey, what the hell? Like, you know, he's not good
like a Bobby Portis even. Like
Bobby Portis had a song.
Everyone would be like,
we'd like it, but that would be a weird one.
Yeah. What about Keon Minifield? He's still doing rap?
He's had 2 mixtapes released in the last year, but I don't know. I guess it was a few months that he had like a little 7 or 8 song. His name on Spotify is FBE Keon. FBE Keon. Right. Go check him out.
You got to play his stuff. Maybe we can do a collab.
I know. We need to get him in here and, you know, so we can talk about it. So he can tell us the story.
You think he's like a freestyle rapper? Like, can you like rip us a new one?
We always talk about who's going to come back on next year's team. The only guy I really truly am going to be devastated if he doesn't come back is Keon.
Yeah, I'm with you. As far as realistic ones coming back.
Right.
Yeah. But I guess we were talking yesterday, people saying that Devo's coming back.
If he wants to come back, cool. Like, I'll gladly welcome him back. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah,
I have a hard time believing it.
Me too.
And I just, like, I can't, my brain can't really visualize it.
He would have to be, he would have to be one of the very, 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 very few players in college basketball that played 5 years. Not like, got hurt, got an injury. No.
Yeah. Not used 5 years of eligibility. Played them all.
Yes. And like played significant roles in minutes and everything. Like that would be insane. So wouldn't that be crazy if that ends up happening? But we got a long way till we get to that point. But we are going to take a break here real quick, folks. But I want to tell you about something very important to us here on the John Nabors Show as well as Natty State Sports. We got to tell you about one of our favorite people, that is Superior Contracting and Development out of Valonia. Now, that's because they're out of Valonia does not mean that they're not statewide, because they are statewide here in the Natty State, and they are licensed residential and commercial contractors specializing in all aspects of home rebuilding and remodeling. They handle everything from fencing to drainage, additions of remodeling, or it could be of your existing structure all the way to land development and ground-up construction as well. So you can call them today for your interior and exterior construction and remodeling needs at 501-453-3053. That's 501-453-3053. You can also email them at contracting@superiorarc.com, superiorark.com. You'll get immediate responses, and you can also check out their website at superiorarc.com. That's superiorark.com. No matter what it is when it comes to all things interior and exterior construction and remodeling, Check it out today with Superior Contracting and Development and by calling them at 501-453-3053. We'll take a break and come back with more of the John Nabors Show here live from the United States Sports Studios. So stay with us.
We not done yet either. So don't be satisfied. We not done.
I mean, honestly, I don't really remember post game. I guess I black out after games, winning and losing.
You missed it. You missed it. You missed the game. Just tell me you missed it. I'm not going to go to it. Why not?
And that will be the last question I answer with that hat on.
Oh, shoot.
That is why Arkansas is fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas? What took you there? It's just so weird. It's
visiting friends, but yeah, Dixon Street.
Dixon Street?
Yeah, Dixon Street. It was, it'll get you.
Best guys, I know it's a tough time for you. The coach is gone, but you've got a new coach now. You got to listen to what he says. Okay, I know you're thinking, oh, who is this new guy? Where's the other guy that crashed the motorcycle? We like him better. He was cool or whatever. Forget about all that. Listen to the new coach and get out there and win some games.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
You guys act like it's... Pick it up a little bit. Okay? Get your chin up. Smile. Smile.
I was a teacher today. Told those boys, welcome to the SEC.
Fayetteville is 1,843 miles away, but the call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
Let's stick my dick in the mashed potatoes. Go Hogs.
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas.
Every time you put a mic in my face, I'm going to say Arkansas.
The John Nabors Show is live from the Natty State Sports Studios.
All right, welcome back into the John Nabors Show here live from the Natty State Sports Studios. Appreciate everybody listening in this afternoon. As me and Andrew have been holding it down, we're going to have Tyler Spoon, former Razorback great, which I was talking with Andrew. I guess I thought that he was all SEC, and he was a freshman all SEC or all American.
Freshman all American. Because I noticed it the other day. So I would have guessed if you had put a gun to my head the other day, I would have been like, oh, he probably made an all SEC team.
Yeah, for sure.
But then the more I think about it, he played outfield, and if you play outfield in the SEC, there's only 6 that get on it. You better be raking. Because I mean, think about the outfielders typically every year. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 that hit 20 home runs. So it makes a little bit of sense. But yeah, I saw him the other day when I was walking out of Baum. So they had like all the All-Americans listed on this stuff, and I was like, "Oh, Tyler Spoon, it's our buddy." And yeah, good for him.
Yeah, I mean, I thought for some reason, like even when we talked last week with him, that he was a highly recruited player, and he
well, because he was. I mean, he was freshman All-American, but he was good right away. Like I remember his like first weekend, him hitting in like the cleanup spot, and I was like, "Oh crap, who is this guy?" Mm-hmm. And so I remember being like, and then obviously Spoon, like it didn't take long for him to resonate with fans and stuff like that. So yeah, it's like he had so much. And he was there for 4 years and played a lot all 4 years too, right?
Yeah.
So I guess we just remember so many big moments that were like, oh, that must have formulated into something, right? But I guess it was just kind of spread out.
Yeah. I mean, baseball is a weird thing, especially in the state of Arkansas. You talk about in-state recruiting. There's guys that you feel like are surefire guys that coming out of the state, highly recruited guys coming out of the state. It seems like just go down to Bryant every year and you'll find someone that's good.
Yeah. Whoever Bryant's 2 best players are every year, just take them.
Yeah, just take them. And then like you have them, like every time, so often Fayetteville High School will have 1 or 2 here and there.
Harbor's been having some good teams the last few years.
Yep, Harbor's been in there. And then you just kind of throw in some randoms, like a Tyler Spoon from Van Buren or Gage Wood from Batesville.
My favorite's Casey Martin from Lone Oak, the Jackrabbits.
Oh, gosh, the Jackrabbits. Man, I forgot he was from Lone Oak. He had the tats like he was from Lone Oak, too, man.
Oh, man. He had the tree line tattoo. That's a classic.
Heck yeah.
That's a classic.
Dude, that was good times.
Cody Scroggins also had the tree line tattoo. He's from Bentonville?
Yes, he was from Bentonville.
He's from close,
he was in Northwest. So I feel like if you're from Northwest Arkansas and you got the tree, I don't know.
Right. It's like Bentonville also is like not
of
the
all
sticks
the
by any
Yeah, about to say, of all the Northwest Arkansas cities, Bentonville definitely not the case.
If you're from Bentonville nowadays, like you probably have blue hair at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nowadays Bentonville's like it's uppity.
Yeah, it's almost like Austin, Texas, pretty much. It's
better
like the
get
same
dolled
thing.
up if you're going to Bentonville.
It's going to be the same thing.
If Tyler Spoon, if they had did the All SEC teams based on handsomeness, I feel like Tyler Spoon easily would have been first team at least 2 or 3 times.
Oh yeah,
easily one of the most handsome Razorback outfielders we've ever seen.
Yeah, I'd say so. Him and I think Dominic Fletcher is a good looking
Dominic
dude.
Fletcher's a good, but short.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Well,
true.
yeah,
How short is he though?
He's like 5'9", I think. 5'9",
Is he
5'10".
really?
Yeah.
Why did I think he was taller than?
But that's how cool he is that like you don't even notice.
Yeah.
He's like
but Benintendi was small too. So.
Benintendi was a handsome dude too.
Mm-hmm.
At 2015 outfield, I mean, I guess Joe Serrano, not a handsome guy. But I guess that 2015 outfield had some babes on it.
That's right.
When Spoon was at our launch party the other day, I was talking to him, and maybe it was just a drinks or whatever, but I got lost in his eyes, man. I was like, jeez.
That'd be a great segment. I'm sure everyone want to hear. Let's just do the power rankings of the best looking Razorback baseball
I'm glad
players.
no one filmed that interaction. I was like, it was crazy, man.
Yeah. It reminded me of the thing on because I love the NBA on TNT when Charles Barkley was talking, or was it Shaq? One of the two, but they were talking about when they met Tom Brady, and I know Shaq. He's just like, man, that was a beautiful man. He's like, I just got lost talking to him and everything.
Just
they
lost
started
train of thought. It's like I don't know what he said, but
yeah, it's like he got lost in his eyes. He's a beautiful man. So, if you guys, everybody coming into the comments, Jeremy says, do you guys think that Brazil comes back, transfers, or go NBA draft? His stock has got to take a huge hit. He's going NBA.
I think he's going NBA. This draft class absolutely sucks. So it's like
trash.
If he's not going to get, and also. The biggest misconception of all time is that people could come back to school and improve their stock. It happens on occasions. It does every now and then. But most of the time, like if you're going to be a year older, you better be way better.
Mm-hmm.
So like if he were going to come back to Arkansas, I don't know how he would like, because he would be 21, 22. Like this would be, I guess this is his junior year now, or his third year in college.
Third year, yeah.
Yeah, he'd be a senior. It's like seniors don't really go in the lottery unless they average like 25 and 12. And so it just
like Buddy Hield type players,
right? Yeah. Like, and even he is like had to really ball out just to get in that consideration. So it's like, I think anytime you can start getting paid, I think you should do it. And this year's draft class, I mean, we talked about it on the Six Pack one episode. We pulled it up. Like that Reed Shepherd kid from Kentucky, the white dude, is like projected to go 11th overall. Dalton Connect's going to be a top 10 pick, and he's good. But it's like it's a pretty weak draft class overall.
Yeah, I don't think
Khalil Ware is going to go like 17 overall, and we're not even sure he can do anything.
Dude, if you're an NBA franchise and this was a year where you traded away a lot of your picks, or like you're probably like, we timed it out perfectly.
Or you're the idiot that's like, you know what, we'll trade away Shea for 3 first-rounders in 2024. I'm sure it'll be great.
Yeah, and you'll just get a bunch of guys that you'll get Trevin Brazil like type players.
I want to say, is it next year where they're letting high school kids go?
Is that official?
It wasn't. I don't know if it's official.
I remember them talking about it.
I feel like years ago there was a point, because I remember Wojnarowski talking on ESPN, and he was like, the league is kind of like, there's a value where it's like before you could just throw in first, second round picks to make any trade. The 2025 picks, people were like, you can't trade those. Those are, because that's going to end up being the most, whatever year is the first year they do it is going to be the most loaded draft class ever, because you're going to have like 2 classes worth of top prospects. So, but this is not one of those years.
No.
I think this is the year where you go ahead and get rid of those. You know, if you want to trade for that guy at the deadline, give him all your picks.
Mm-hmm. All you can, because it's kind of like I never care about the NBA draft much, anyways. But looking at all these mock drafts, I'm like, I don't even know who these people are.
It's slim pickings, and honestly, like
Ron
NBA,
Holland will probably be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, I think he was projected to go 4th last I checked. And then like the NBA draft is always a little weird, where it's like basically past the lottery. If you can draft a guy who will even be on your team in 3 years, that's a good pick.
Yeah,
really, guys that go 17 overall are really not expected to do that much.
No, not at all. And we were talking about Devo coming back. Razorback Rock says Devo better bring back his defense if he wants to stay.
That would be nice. That would be nice. And
bring back something. Give us something, Devo.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think we've always kind of joked that this whole narrative that he's this lockdown defender is built on a few stretches of really good defense, and we see like flashes of it every now and then. But I think we've kind of figured out that he's not really the guy you just put on an island and you're like, oh, he's going to take out this player. He's not that level of guy.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's I just never know what to expect for Devo. And last night it was just like, he might as well not even played.
No,
and then there's some nights where it's like, man, you really needed him, and glad that he showed up. So it's just that's who he is. It's who it is in his entire career, and that's just the way it's always been.
Devo did not have the worst plus minus on the team last night.
I know, it's sad.
Yeah,
who did?
El Boogie had a -10 in 26 minutes. He had a 1-1-1 stat line.
Truly the triple single.
Yeah, Devo had the 0-0. El had the triple single.
That's terrible. That's terrible. I know we're going to have our guy Tyler Spoon joined us in here in just a little bit, but wanted to remind everybody that us at the Natty State Sports crew, we're going to be down in Arlington. We're leaving tomorrow morning, and it's going to be awesome. We have been looking forward to this trip for a while, but what was funny is that originally it was just going to be Branson, our guy here. I guess he's a CEO. We'll call him CEO. It sounds official. And we're gonna have Branson, and then me and Andrew, and then Curtis and Scotty. We're gonna stay back and do a little basketball stuff. But then we're like, you know what?
The basketball team 4-star hand.
Yeah, 4-star hand. So let's just do something more fun as an entire crew. So now the entire crew, all of us, are going to be heading down to Arlington starting tomorrow. And they have a practice there at Globe Life from 3 to 5. That's when the Razorbacks will be. So we'll have to be there at the practice. Hopefully getting a lot of great content. And we'll be doing live streams from down there. We'll be hanging out at Texas Live. We're staying at the Lowe's. So it's right there. We don't even have to get in our cars once we're there, to be honest. So we're not leaving the Arlington.
Thank God we don't have to operate heavy machinery or vehicles this weekend.
That's right. Because I feel like if we did, we'd be in trouble and things would be bad. But
hey, John, I've got it on very good authority that Hagen Smith this week, he took it personally. He didn't like what happened last Friday.
I don't think anybody did.
He didn't like it at all. And Hagen Smith, he's not a super talkative guy.
He's not.
If you think there's nothing going on behind those quiet eyes, he's a killer, man. So it's like I bet he hasn't slept once since. I think he's just one of those dudes. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to shove and go 7 shutout innings, but it's like I think you're going to see a much, much better Hagen Smith, which, we've seen more often than not throughout his career. I mean, his dude's very good.
And not only that, but it would be a great thing to do it against Oregon State.
Would be perfect,
just because of the last time you guys faced each other.
If there is a God, we will find out Friday.
It will be nice to see that.
By the way, it's funny that any Arkansas fans traveling to Arlington, don't be afraid to ruffle some feathers, because Oregon State, their coach was asked if he's like, is this going to be like a big game for y'all? And he's like, no, there's no added. It's just a team we beat in the national championship. No big deal. Yeah, it is what it is. And he obviously wasn't the coach when they won. But I don't think they are. This is one of those games where Arkansas cares more than Oregon State, and it needs to show on the field and in the crowd. And I have no doubt Arkansas fans are going to have them like, it's going to be not even close. But I think Arkansas fans need to take that, take it personally and really. Make it a rowdy Arlington Globe Life field, which Curtis and I looked up today is ranked the 22nd MLB stadium out of 30.
Is it really?
According to some list of some guy that seemed like he knew what he was talking about.
Jeez, I've been there. I thought it was really nice.
It is. Well, it is really nice. It's very. He said it looked like a warehouse, which isn't inaccurate.
Yeah, but I guess that's true.
It's such a big building.
Yeah.
I also thought it seated more. Like, it's not even in the top 10 in terms of. Like
how
capacity.
How many people can be in there? Like 25,000?
I think it's like 45,000.
That's not in the top 10? I thought, geez.
Dude, MLB parks are crazy. Do you know?
Because I know Dodgers are the biggest one still, right?
And do you know who's number 2? You would never guess it.
And it like something weird like Tampa or something
like
that?
Well, I'll tell you, this stadium might not be in use in the coming years.
Okay.
Oakland Coliseum apparently seats like 63K or something crazy like that.
I would have never guessed that.
Those seats are never filled up. But yeah, we were looking at it today, and this guy was just like, Globe Life, just a big old warehouse. But what I like about it, I don't like the Texas Rangers. You can't really tell it's the Texas Rangers park just by looking at it, which I feel like is probably knocks it for most people. But in terms of the context of what we're about to do this weekend, I could not love it more, because it's just a humongous MLB park for us to goof around in.
Yeah, and there's going to be a ton of Hog fans there.
It's
the weather's going to be
There's
perfect.
like 7 floors.
Yeah.
Like if you get on the elevator, there's like you can go all over the place.
Yeah, the weather's perfect too. Like for those of you, we know a lot of people going down. Like we checked it for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's nothing but sunny, and the temperatures highs vary between 72 and 82.
Hey, what do you think the chances are that they open the roof?
I'd say none.
I would say
but
none,
I'd say none.
But I was there at Minute Maid in 2020 when Arkansas got swept. But when they played Texas on that Saturday night, about 20 minutes before first pitch, they just.
Oh wow!
And it was so electric because it was like so perfect weather that they were like, "We got."
I feel like that probably in their mind they're like that. I don't know how much it costs to open up, but it's like
the Astros,
how many people they have to hire to do it.
Yeah,
like
I don't know about the Rangers how complex it is, but I know the Astros, like the players hate it when the roof's open.
Really?
So like if there's like even a hint of wind or like the sun's too bright or it's like anything, they're like, nope, close it.
Yeah, we want it out.
And they don't like the shadows. The shadows are apparently different if they play day games with this roof open. So
I don't know. I just think it'd be cool just because I've never seen it that way before. Like, or just like the roof being open. But, I don't know. It's just funny because in my mind, I'm like, I'm sure it's just a switch that you just, you hit and then it opens up. I'm like, I know it's not that simple.
You got like dudes doing the thing.
Yeah. It's like it's not as simple as flipping a switch, but it's also not like you gotta get like the people that built the pyramids out there to be hauling the roof out over the thing. So I don't know how complicated it is. I would just be surprised. Because I feel like last year the weather was not as it's kind of not cold.
No, I think
but
it
was
was cooler than it is going to be this weekend for sure.
So maybe so. Again, I hope they do, and if they do, I'll be excited just to see what it looks like and all that. But if they do it, would it be for all the games? You think, or would they maybe? I think
Saturday? They choose like based on it. So I don't know. Maybe like one of the night games when it's like 70 degrees, 68 degrees. Like I don't know,
that'd be
but
nice.
We'll start planting that seed around the executives. While we're up there, the RAV folks we'll be kind of bumping elbows with them.
Our suite is next to the general manager's suite.
Yeah, I mean,
so maybe
we'll probably see Dayton Moore there.
Yeah, I've heard about him.
Yeah, I think he's with the Rangers, right?
Sounds right to me. You would know more than me on baseball, buddy. So I'm going to trust you. You know ball.
Ever since Robert Moore left the University of Arkansas, I have not kept up to date with what his dad is doing. But I know he is no longer with the Royals.
Oh wait, real quick before we take a break, how many pitches do you think Hagan goes? Like, how long is he going to go for this?
75 to 80.
Okay.
I bet. Well, I mean, dude, the pitchers last week threw in that range. So, I mean, it depends on obviously how he's doing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be stunned if he gets it up in like 85. Okay. Especially since but I don't know, DVH is going to be cautious if nothing else. So, I mean, I think just get through 5, Hagan. Get through 5.
5 innings, don't give up more than a run or 2.
Yeah, just for every run you give up, you got to go an extra inning.
Mm-hmm. Who's the first Razorback to hit a home run in Globe Life this weekend?
I'm going to go with
Spraglot.
I'm not going to go. Well, yeah, apparently. I'm going to go with Jason Jones.
Okay.
He hit a 430-foot home run at Globe Life last year, when they played TCU and it was like 14-1. But he's one of those dudes where it's like when he gets a hold of one, it's fun to watch. I think he's going to get a hold of one this weekend.
I think I'm going to predict McLaughlin.
I love that. This dude, Jeremy Wilson says Diggs. I think Diggs is due. I mean, he didn't hit a home run opening weekend.
He's due. Yeah, he didn't hit a home run in 4 games. He's due.
He's due. I think Vahiva Loy might have to hit a home run too.
I hope he does.
Guys, I got a banger tweet coming when Vahiva hits that first home run. I've had it queued up for days.
He's got it in his drafts right now, just ready.
I might jump the gun. As soon as he hits a hard hit ball, I'm just going to hit tweet and then hope it goes over the fence.
Yeah. Hey, well, let's hope so. Well, I'll tell everybody that since we're going to be down there, follow along on all of our social medias, our YouTube. We're going to have great content. We're going to be actually hanging out at various places. We're going to have a place to watch the Razorback basketball game, too, because I know people are still excited about that. They're going to be playing Missouri. Probably going to be in Texas Live, but we'll keep you updated. Follow us on all social media, on our YouTubes, and we'll have some great content not only going down, but while we're there and coming back, it's going to be a lot of fun. But before we get out of here and talk with Tyler Spoon, which we look forward to always catching up with him, I got to tell you about our fine friends over there at Alumni Hall in Fayetteville, 3417 North College Avenue. And whenever you want something Razorback related, and it doesn't matter what shirt or hat or apparel or any sort of extra accessory, maybe some decor, whatever it is, Alumni Hall has it. I promise you that. And the best thing about it is that they have an online store that if you're not living in Fayetteville or you can't make it into Northwest Arkansas, say if you're somebody in the Dallas metro that's going to be going to the game this weekend or the games this weekend, if you go to nattystatesports.com/alumni hall, you'll be able to get all the great apparel, the same apparel, delivered straight to your door. It's as simple as that. So just go to nattystatesports.com/alumni hall. You can check them out there, be able to get all the best apparel for Razorbacks, not only for this weekend, but also just for the baseball season in general. Maybe you want to get ahead of the game a little bit on football too. They got it all. So just visit them today at nattystatesports.com/alumni hall. If you're in the Northwest Arkansas area, you can also visit them in store at 3417 North College Avenue. But make it happen and get your Razorback game day apparel, men, women's, children's, pets, everybody at Alumni Hall in Fayetteville. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to be joined by Tyler Spoon, former Razorback, thanks to the Bank of Fayetteville. So stay with us here on the John Nabors Show.
We not done yet either. So don't be satisfied. We not done.
I mean, honestly, I don't really remember post-game. I guess I black out after games, winning and losing.
You missed it. You missed it. You missed the game. Just tell me you missed it. I'm not going to go through it today. Why not?
And that will be the last question I answer with that hat on.
Oh, shoot.
That is why Arkansas is fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas? What took you there? It's just so weird. It's
visiting friends,
Okay.
but yeah, Dixon Street.
Dixon Street?
Yeah, Dixon Street. It was, it'll get you.
Best guys, I know it's a tough time for you. The coach is gone, but you've got a new coach now, and you got to listen to what he says. Okay, I know you're thinking, oh, who is this new guy? Where's the other guy that crashed the motorcycle? We like him better. He was cool or whatever. Forget about all that. Listen to the new coach and get out there and win some games.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks. You guys act like it's... Pick it up a little bit. Okay? Get your chin up. Smile. Smile.
I was a teacher today. Told those boys, welcome to the SEC.
Fayetteville is 1,843 miles away, but the call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
Let's stick my dick in the mashed potatoes. Go Hogs.
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas.
Every time you put a mic in my face, I'm going to say Arkansas.
The John Nabors Show is live from the Natty State Sports Studios.
All right, welcome back into the John Nabors Show. Appreciate everybody listening in, watching in this afternoon, too, as Andrew Ellis is gonzo. But luckily, you got me. And you also have Tyler Spoon. We had a chance to catch up with him earlier this afternoon, as we know Arkansas is getting ready for a big one this weekend in Arlington. A lot of quality teams, and hope we can learn a lot about themselves and maybe improve on some things that we saw from the past weekend. So without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome in the man himself, Tyler Spoon. All right, right now we're joined by our very special guest who's joined us each and every week thanks to Bank of Fayetteville right here in downtown Fayetteville. Since it is baseball season, Arkansas got a nice little 4-game series victory over James Madison. They're going to be heading down to Arlington, and to talk more about it, let's welcome in former Razorback Tyler Spoon. What's up, Tyler? How are you?
What's up, John? I'm good, man. Good to be back.
It's good to have you back, especially talking about a series win, which I know it's interesting, like how it's a 4-game one, but through the elements, I know they dropped that one game on Sunday, but I mean, hey, you got to still be happy no matter what, getting a series win, especially the opening series win, no matter what it is.
Yeah, that opening weekend, you find a way, win the series, go to the next weekend. You know, you're just playing all the different guys, trying to figure out who can play, who can't. You know, it's cold, it's miserable, so go 3-1, you're happy. So
yeah. So what did you? We'll just start with the generics. What takeaway? I mean, you get 4 games. I know it's a long season, a lot of games. Got this big one coming up this weekend, but just from the 4 games you were able to check out and see, just what was probably your biggest takeaway from that?
Really like the pitching staff and the bullpen as a whole. You know, just the most on-brand thing ever that, you know, our ace goes hit by pitch, walk, and then home run. It's just like that's probably not going to happen again the entire year, just how it goes, always first game of the year. But I thought the pitching staff, bullpen as a whole was really good, really solid. You know, they're throwing a lot of young guys out there. Again, the first weekend, you're just trying to figure out who can do it, who can't, who can throw strikes, who can handle the pressure, all that good stuff. So, but also, you know, the bats are good. The pieces are there. It obviously wasn't an offensive explosion this weekend, but I think just from what I saw, obviously you still don't have Stovall and just Mr. Consistent in the lineup and having a guy like that. But you got, you know, Hudson White was unbelievable. Diggs, you know, really good. I think the lineup as a whole is going to be really good. We just got to figure out the lineup and the pieces first. So I liked what I saw, long story short.
Yeah, and with the Hagen Smith thing, we were talking before we started the interview just how as soon as that happened, I knew that people were just fans. Just why of all the players, the guy that you were going to count on the most and being your ace this year gives up that inning. I think he ended up having 46 pitches, but taken out in the first inning. Just, you know, you've been around a lot of great pitchers. Any concerns whatsoever? Like, should Razorback fans be concerned at all, considering Hagen, an experienced ace, had that type of outing in his first game?
No, not at all. I mean, it's just a freak deal where Hagen probably still can't feel his fingers because of how cold it was, and he's trying to throw. I mean, trying to grip a baseball and throw when it's that cold is so hard. I mean, it hurts. So he's trying to throw. He's trying to, you know, just guide the ball over the plate and, you know, hit the first batter, walk the second one, and then you get the wind howling out to center field, and a guy hits a fly ball that's a routine F8, and then next thing you know, it's over the fence. It's just like, what do you do? You know, I feel like that's the most Arkansas way to start a season too. You know,
Yeah.
so but yeah, it's there's no reason to be worried. He's fine.
Yeah. So for a mentality wise, because listen, I mean, you have a game like that, and he's going to have an opportunity this weekend, which I know we'll talk about Arlington, but just for the mindset and toughness, because he is a tough kid, bouncing back. Just how do you feel like he will bounce back, and how will how will Dave Van Horn, Matt Hobbs, how will they approach him in that to just say, you know, was it something that they don't even talk to him? Hey, don't worry about it. Or is there some sort of maybe conversation that it gets had to settle him down a little bit?
Yeah, well, it depends on the pitcher too. You know, Hagen seems like a guy that's probably just going to make him mad. You know, and so it's going to be like sometimes it's good that happens early on. You kind of it happens. You know, then you just got to tell yourself, hey, it's time to dial in. Let's figure this out. So Hagen's a guy that's probably going to come out, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes 5 innings, 1 hit, 7 strikeouts kind of deal this next outing. So he'll probably be on another pitch count. So, if he's thrown 65 pitches, 70 pitches, and he's cruising, don't be surprised if he's pulled. That's just first few weekends is all about just making sure they're, getting out there, not trying to extend them too much. You got to have them for SEC play. So, I just think he's a guy that's going to bounce back and probably just lock it in even more.
You mentioned the weather. We talked about how cold it was, and I know that it's never ideal and it's not baseball weather, but people may not understand. It's cold for fans to be out there, but it's just as cold for players. So how does that change your game, whether you're a pitcher or a hitter or fielding, whatever? How does that change it when it's the winds and the cold and the type of weather that they were having to play in this past weekend?
Yeah, it's miserable. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It's the worst time of the year to play baseball, and you just grind through it. You find a way, hand warmers in your pockets. You just can't feel your fingers most of the time. And, like I said, trying to grip a baseball, let alone being a pitcher and throwing it every play, it's hard. So you just grin and bear it. You fight through it. The ball's not coming off the bat as well. It's just as bad as it is probably sitting in the stands and how cold you probably think it is on the field, it's probably exactly what you think, but probably worse, And baseball, you just got to be moving around constantly in between pitches. You can't sit still. It's terrible. So you just, can't wait for a weekend like this where you're indoors and playing in a nice little, controlled environment. So that'll be a good treat for them after this first weekend.
Well, also as players, it seems like you kind of go about it different ways. I think it was Aloy that was out there. He had like a full-on hoodie, it seemed like. But then you got other guys that, are wearing the same thing they would if it was 90 degrees outside. So I guess every player's different as far as how they have to treat it to where, it's about constriction, it's about their movement, it's about also staying warm too. But every player seems they're different.
Yeah, I mean, myself, I couldn't, like the thermals we had and the long sleeves just were uncomfortable and kind of tight on me. So I couldn't swing and feel comfortable swinging in them. So I had to wear my normal stuff, and it was just cold. But you have a jacket in between innings. You just you hope your pitcher has a quick inning and you get back in there. But yeah, it's all about comfort. And, some guys are like, well, I'd rather be warm than feel good hitting and take my 1 for 4 as opposed to 3 for 4 and just stay warm. Probably not, but that's, you just try to do whatever you can to stay warm. Long story short, it's a grind. There's no way around it.
Speaking with Tyler Spoon, former Razorback, thanks to Bank of Fayetteville here in downtown Fayetteville. And Tyler, another pitcher I wanted to get to before we get into the lineup itself, Will McIntyre, who we had on this show, and he's an experienced guy, right-hander. We've seen what he's been able to do, longevity. But for him to step into that situation when, Hagen had a struggle, come in and settle in and do a great job, and then come back in later into the series and everything. I'm not trying to put too much pressure on him, but he looks so much more improved, and he looks like a guy that they're going to count on a lot. And he might be down to that calming, easy presence where, in a jam like that, bring in this guy because he'll be able to get you out of it. I was just really impressed by him, at least in this first weekend, and coming out and handling a pretty tough situation to walk into.
Yeah, he does a really good job of, being the savvy vet, just having the experience. And, I don't think he would, care if I said this. He just doesn't throw 96, 97 like everybody else. It's the 88, the cutter at 85 kind of deal. And, but he acts, his mentality is, you would think he throws 97, 98, just with how he pitches and how tough he is on the mound. He's not afraid to just come right at you. He's going to throw strikes. He's just a bulldog. And, the cutter is such a tough pitch to hit. And it's one of those deals, unless you're a very disciplined hitter, it looks like a fastball to hand, then just tails away from you. And if you don't stay on it and you're not disciplined with that pitch, you're not going to hit it. And so if he can stay consistent with that pitch, like he used it this last weekend, he's going to get a lot of guys out. And, the pitch ability for him is, throwing 97 helps a lot, but being able to really pitch helps a lot as well. So he's really figured out how to pitch and control his pitches and can throw everything for strikes, and he's just going to pound the zone. And those are guys that are tough to hit. He's not going to walk a lot of people. He's going to make you earn it. And if you earn it and score 4 runs off of him and get a lot of hits, and so be it, But majority of the time, he's just going to be a guy that's really consistent, pound the zone, get you a lot of outs, and just eat up some innings when you need it.
Was there a pitcher you had on your team or maybe that you faced against that's kind of comparable to what Will McIntyre is? Because I think it's a unique guy when you talk about him not having the speed that maybe or velocity a lot of these other guys have, but he's just solid, consistent, throw strikes and everything. Was there a pitcher maybe that you can compare him to that you either played with or played against, or even a guy that Arkansas's had previously?
Yeah, I think probably he's probably very similar to Brandon Moore. I mean, Brandon and I were roommates, but Brandon was a guy that, you had Baird Aston on Friday, Stanek on Saturday, Randall Fan on Sunday. But Brandon was the guy that the first sign of trouble, he was a guy that's going to come in, throw 88, 91 with the power sinker and eat up 4 to 7 innings for you if you need it. So very similar guy, just not afraid to pound the zone. And, very similar comparison. Arkansas boys. So, it's, he was a very, very similar player. That's, one of the first guys I think about when I see McIntyre pitch.
And going to the lineup itself, it's, you saw some guys that looked real good. You mentioned Hudson White. I know people were really excited about Aloy. It seemed like he struggled there in the beginning, but settled in a little bit more. But just from the lineup on the offensive side, it's hard. Again, 4 games, it's really tough to see. But did you at least, was it to your expectation? Did you expect a little more? Like, just what do you think of the overall lineup right now?
Yeah, it's hard to know what to expect that first weekend, especially when it's cold. You're just like, you may not see a lot, and you just, I as a former player know that like when it's cold like that, you're probably not going to see a lot of offensive explosion. And you as a fan, I get you may be frustrated because we didn't score 8 runs a game, 10 runs a game. So I think I'm more excited about this weekend when we face really good pitching, really good teams. I'm excited to see what the players look like. I think Diggs is a guy that sticks out to me. He's going to have probably his exciting moments, but he's going to be that really boring, consistent hitter that's going to just spray the ball all over the yard, take his walks, get on base, and just, death by 1,000 cuts with him. So, but those are the most important guys in your lineup. So, Hudson White looked good. Aloy, I think, is going to be just fine. Probably a little different than California weather.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, Helfrich, I think, is a guy, the freshman, I think he's going to be really, really good. So the pieces are all there, and when Stovall comes back and gets right in the lineup again, I think it's going to be a really fun time.
I want to ask you about Wilmsmeyer. You saw that play he made out there in outfield. SportsCenter number 2 play, I believe, top 10. We were talking about this on the show, and I want, as a former player, the most hype play you can make as an outfielder. Is it that play, or my argument is just a frozen rope from outfield to home plate and tagging a guy out? Like, between those two, get the one that gets you more hyped, robbing a home run or the frozen rope to home?
Gosh, that's a tough one. It all depends on the situation, too.
Yeah, that's
if
true.
It's at the same time, if it's a tie game and you rob a home run, that's pretty high. I mean, I personally love a frozen rope. I love, like, just getting behind it.
Just gunning it.
And just absolutely just throwing a guy out at third, home, whatever it was. To me, that was the best feeling. But I didn't get a lot of chances to rob a home run. But I remember probably the coolest play I ever experienced was Matt Vincent when he climbed the wall in left field. You may not remember that, but climbed the wall. He's halfway up, leaning over, and he caught it. It was the coolest play I've ever witnessed. So I don't know. It's a tough one. Me personally, I like throwing a guy out, but robbing a home run is pretty sweet too.
So you mentioned Vincent's play. What was the coolest play you ever had as a Razorback? Is there one that comes to mind? Defensively, at least.
I was pretty boring defensively. I just caught it and threw it. And
well, those are important things. You got to catch it and throw it.
You got to do those to play and stay on the field. But I don't know. I think I had one. I can't remember who it was, but it was a year that it was Benny's freshman year. That's what it was. It was 2014 where Benny was struggling and they benched Benny. I know people probably don't remember that, but Benny didn't play. I know all those kids out there. If you get benched, it's not the end of the world. Okay, but I played center and I had like 2 catches in one game where like it was just a blur, but I just run it. It was like deep left center field, but. Those are probably the best catches that I made. I think Auburn, I had one frozen rope where I threw a guy out at third. That was probably probably one of my favorites. But again, I was a pretty boring outfielder. I didn't do anything too crazy. I wasn't blazing speed, so I just had to catch the ball and throw it. So
hey, listen, you did your job.
That's
man.
right.
The big constant is what
I just
you were.
tried to hit. That was all my goal was, just to hit. So
So scoring runs is important too.
it is very important. You got to do that.
Yeah,
So.
and because I was trying to think of one of some of the plays that going back to that point and to think about some of the highlights and you mentioned some of the plays that you were a part of too. It is amazing to me to see certain players get hyped over certain plays. If a pitcher gets a big strikeout or whatnot, but I was like, what every player I feel like has a different thing. But in the outfield, this is really what I've been curious about. Just because again, I don't know ball, but I act like I do sometimes. But the different positions out there: center field, left field, right field. How big of a difference is it to play those three positions? Because I think some people may just look at it as like, well, you're in the outfield, it's kind of the same, and I know it depends on the hitter, but truly, how different is it between those three positions in playing them where it's not just like, oh, we'll insert somebody out there who plays right field and the left field and they'll do fine? How big of a difference is it?
It's a huge difference because, people don't think about the strategy behind who you put in each position. Really, your left fielder and right fielder could essentially swap a lot of the times. The right fielder is where you normally put your strongest arm. So, that's why I played right field, right?
Of course, yeah.
But no, that's usually where you put one of your stronger arms because that throw to third and that throw to home but the throw to third is the longest throw. And you try to just have a little bit stronger arm in right field just to make the little bit longer throws. And then center field is going to be your more athletic, the guy that can just, he's going to get anything from gap to gap and call off the left and right fielder. And the left fielder is going to be a solid fielder that, essentially going to be interchangeable with the right fielder. So, but the other thing too on the corner, left and right field, the big difference is the spin, and people don't understand that. But any ball that's hit to if you're playing left field and it's hit to your right towards the line, the ball is going to spin towards the line, 99.9% of the time. I mean, it's almost impossible to get your hands so far inside of it that it spins the other way. But and then same on the right field line, it's going to go to your glove side, to your left side towards the right field line. So the ways the ball comes off the bat, no matter if it's a righty, lefty, it's completely different. So it's they're the same, but they're very, very different. But for me to go over to the left, if I was to go over to left field and play, it would be a little bit of a change. It'd take me a minute. I need to get a couple days of fly balls, but it's a very, very different position.
So let's talk about this weekend because Arlington is an awesome trip for those of you who may not have made it. And I mean, listen, you get to play in a major league ballpark. It's always a big deal. But going up against teams like Oregon State, I don't know if Arkansas has a history, I think, with Oregon State. They played each other once, I remember. But you got Oregon State, you got Oklahoma State, you got Michigan. So we'll start with the event itself. How does this type of event help and develop and get guys ready? What does it do for a team and individual players to have an event like this early in the year and in a big ballpark against high quality teams that you don't normally face? Yeah, you kind of just get to dip your toes in the water before SEC play. You get to see the SEC quality competition and just kind of mentally prepare yourself as a player just for what's coming down the road. At the same time, every team's coming in the same position. It's hard to, as a player, it's hard to think. You're thinking, I'm going to this tournament. There's going to be some really good teams there. But then you look at the field, and then everyone's like, well, we're going to this tournament, and Arkansas is going to be there. It's going to be tough, So it's one of those deals where Arkansas, we're kind of at that point where we're coming in, we've got the target on the back. Everyone's like, okay, Arkansas's there. If we can just find a way to beat them, that's huge for us. So for Arkansas, it's going to be more or less, I think, Coach Van Horn's going to throw. You're going to see limited pitch counts. You're not going to see guys extend, but you're going to see different lineups. You're going to see, what guys can do it against the high quality competition, the high quality pitching, bullpen. So it's just a fun turn. You get to see where your team's at early on compared to some of where they stack up against some of the other teams across the country, and especially Oregon State, who's number 7 in the country. So it'll be a good test. It'll be fun. And also looking at it from, the teams that Arkansas is going to be facing, again, if you don't face Michigan, but for whatever reason, Michigan's actually been a pretty decent Big Ten team. And, Oregon State, and they have history, and Oklahoma State. It seems like Arkansas and Oklahoma State play each other as often as SEC teams do. But just looking at the teams themselves, and then also the fact that you had a starting lineup or starting rotation that this past weekend. Do you think Dave is going to stick with that? I mean, I know you can't really get into his head, but do you think that that'll probably be some similar with Hagen Smith, then Tigert, and then throw in Molina? I know he had some struggles there, but you think it kind of stays the same this weekend? Yeah, I think it stays the same. I think Molina's got a consistent enough track record from Texas Tech that, it's not
one and done type deal. I think Molina's going to get quite a few. I would say going to get quite a few, at least 4 or 5 weekends, to really gauge and see, okay, is this going to be the guy? But yeah, Hagan, he's going to be the guy. Tiger, he's going to be the guy. So I think more or less it's going to be the bullpen that you may just see so many different changes. And, people don't realize you've got to throw in, your Gackles early on in the season in a situation where it's, 2-2 in the 7th inning, 2 outs, bases loaded. You know that McIntyre can come in and do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know that he's not afraid to come in and get that out. You know that Gage Wood could probably come in and do it, but you don't know if Gackle can come in and do it. So you've got to throw those guys into those situations where they haven't been in it before, and you've got to have them ready for SEC play. Because at the end of the day, if it's 2-2 in the 7th or 8th or 9th, and at Globe Life, not a big deal. But when it's week 9 of the SEC and you need to win the series, that's when it's a big deal. And you don't want that first time ever experiencing that for the kid to be that time. So yeah.
Speaking with Tyler Spoon, former Razorback, here on the John Nabors Show, thanks to Bank of Fayetteville here in downtown Fayetteville. Tyler, what is it like? I know we talked about you played at Minute Maid.
Mm-hmm.
What is that like as a college baseball player? You play in great ballparks in the SEC. I mean, some of the best college baseball parks.
Mm-hmm.
You don't play in Omaha, play in so many different venues. But when you play in a major league ballpark, and especially if it's your first time there, like what is that like running out onto that field for the first time?
It's surreal. You step on the field and you're just like, oh my gosh, like big leaguers are playing on this exact field. Like, this is crazy. I mean, it's, you name it, you just start thinking of all the players that have, Altuve's on this field, whoever it is, and at the same time, probably the coolest experience for me was in 2013. I went to, or 2014, whatever year it was, but played in Cape Cod. But one day, every year for Cape Cod, one day every year, every team gets to take BP at Fenway. And that was one for me where I walked on that field and I was just like, I was just frozen. You can't explain, you can't describe it. As a baseball fanatic, as a freak, just understanding the history that was underneath my feet where I'm walking was just crazy. I mean, I couldn't even like put it into words how cool it was. And so it's really, really awesome for guys to get an opportunity to, play in a stadium like that and just, where the big leaguers play. And, Globe Life, it's where the World Series champs are, so where Corey Seager plays shortstop kind of stuff. So, it's really cool. Long story short, I know that was a lot, but it's an experience you can't really describe. It's awesome.
Yeah, and did you, as far as playing in indoors, though, like, is that really play much of a difference? Because baseball's outside, man. So when you play in a dome, like, I'm just always curious, how is that different, or how is it different at all?
It's awesome, actually. It's because there's no wind factor, so there's no wind blowing in your face, but at the same time, there's no wind blowing out. But it's a true like playing surface, playing field. I guess it's where you get a ball really well. There's no wind blowing in to knock it down. It's going to go over the fence. But at the same time, it's the pitchers, same thing. There's no elements that are going to, I guess, change a couple things here and there about the game or the ball and how it flies, all that stuff. So it's fun. It's a controlled environment, 70 degrees. It's going to be perfect. But, the infield is turf. It's all amazing. So it's just a true, unbelievable, great playing surface, great elements. So there's not going to be, it's fun to play and stuff like that.
Well, because, one of the things that I look at with other sports, other major sports and college sports, for instance, like college football, you have times where you play in NFL stadiums often. And a lot of times it's in postseason play. You think about in college basketball, we were even discussing it last night on our live stream that Final Fours now, they don't even play them in basketball arenas. It's football stadiums, and they just put the courts on there. So for more tickets and everything. But love Omaha and everything, but I wonder if there will ever be a time where they'll maybe look to have some sort of postseason in MLB stadiums. I don't know if it'll come. I don't know if it'll stay the way that it is, because there's nothing against Omaha or anything. But I just always felt like it's so interesting that the arguably the best ballpark that this Razorback baseball team is going to play in is going to be in the beginning of the year, even if they went on to win a national championship. Yeah.
No, it's so hard to say. You're going to go one way or the other. I personally love the idea of like Omaha. You make it to Omaha. That's what you do. You try to make it to Omaha, and you got a chance. And if you switch to a format like the NCAA tournament basketball wise, where it's hey, you may be in Indianapolis this year, you may be in Atlanta, you may be wherever it is. it's it makes it's still going to be special, but I think there's just something about fighting through regionals, fighting through super regionals, and your goal is to make it to Omaha. Like you're not trying to make it to TBD location.
Right.
It's the destination. You know where you're trying to go. You know that you want to end the year in Omaha. You want to be the last team standing in Omaha. So there's just something about TD Ameritrade and being in Omaha that's it's special. So me personally, I hope they don't get rid of it, but at the same time, I could see where it would be cool if they did, do some major league parks and all that stuff.
Well, it sounds you have Hogs, man. It's like
it's true.
It's already there.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to change it or anything.
Exactly.
Just keep it the way it is. But I'd be fine if it stayed in Omaha. But just knowing how sports has been changing and how it's always wild to see how that plays out. I did want to ask you this. I meant to ask you last week, but since we're kind of discussing it, 10 SEC series, is kind of what the schedule is. We got Texas and Oklahoma joining the conference. And I know that they've kind of alluded to how they're going to have a schedule set up. I believe you're going to have 2 permanent opponents each year.
Yeah.
I think Arkansas's is Ole Miss and Missouri. I believe that's the case. I'll have to double check. But do you think that first off, 10 SEC series, if they expanded that'd be bad if they went to 11 or 12? But also, how do you feel like maybe scheduling wise, you'd like to see it just as a former player, just as far as these new teams coming in, 16 teams in the conference? How could you really play that out?
It's gonna be interesting. I think as a former player, I think 10 is perfect because, there's I don't know, more SEC series. 10 is already a gauntlet. It's just
it is.
You run through, you play Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and then you play A&M 3 weekends in a row, and then you're like, okay, that was tough. And then you look up, it's like, well, now we got LSU this next weekend. It's like there's just no break, and then you hope. And a lot of times what DVH likes to do is play his midweek series early on / middle of the year, and then towards the end, take away those midweek games so the guys are getting a little bit more rest. Just because by week 7, 6, 6, 7 in the SEC, you're gassed and you need some rest. So I think 10 is a good number, but there's no weak link on the schedule. I mean, it's just so regardless, you're just going to add. If you add 11. It's going to be 11 really hard weekends.
Yeah.
So it's just a gauntlet. So I don't think they will. They might, but the scheduling. I mean, OU and Texas are just 2 quality opponents to add to the mix. It's going to be fun. I mean, it's going to be good baseball, fun baseball to watch. But as a player, it's like, golly, that's a gauntlet to even think about going through. So
the SEC is already pretty tough enough as it is.
Gosh,
add that in there. And I don't even know if you even care about this, but the divisions are going away.
Yeah.
And I've always felt like the divisions, just personally, you got to a point where almost they're pointless in all sports. Like in football, they're getting rid of them.
Yeah.
In basketball, they've been done with divisions for over a decade, and I think it's been fine. But divisions, SEC West and East, do you care about that, or do you think it's going to be all right with, hey, just take the top 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way down, and from the entire conference, all 16 teams?
Yeah, usually, I mean, I don't mind it just because, it's like, in the West, you're like, all right, let's beat LSU, and you got a chance to win the SEC. That's it. And at the end of the day, you're from the East, you've got Georgia, you got Vandy, you got Florida. Georgia could be in that mix, but it's usually right now. Lately, it's been Arkansas, LSU, Florida, and Vandy. So those are the 4 teams that usually are in the mix, and usually if you just beat the for us, it was if you beat LSU, you got a chance to win the whole thing, win the whole SEC. So at the end of the day, you just try to win. If you can win 7 SEC series in a year, it's really good. I don't think people realize how hard it is to win 7. So you win 7, you're at least winning 14 games, and as long as you don't get swept the others, you're going to at least win 15, 18 games in the SEC, which is really good. So, it's going to be interesting to see how the strategy, I guess, changes. I mean, you're going to have to try to win every weekend, which obviously you do. But, it'll be – with Texas in the mix, it'll be fun. So
Try to tell people about when Arkansas won 10 SEC series. The fact that is the most absurd thing that – what was it, one other time in history that's happened?
Yeah, I don't think you may never see that again from, let alone an Arkansas team, but any other team. That was a feat that we may not ever see again. It was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Because, even last year, losing to – I think they got swept by Georgia on the road, and Georgia wasn't a great team. But
exactly.
Sometimes it's just, it's baseball, man. Yeah. You just never know how it's going to play out. But I think that the way that the schedule is set up, especially this year for Arkansas, is really good as far as home games and road games. So here's my question to you, Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
You get to guarantee one SEC series victory this year. Just guarantee one. Which team would you like it to be against?
Would I like it to be against?
Yeah, like that. Where if it happened, how about this? William throwing a sweep. We'll say one sweep guaranteed against one SEC opponent this year for Arkansas. Who would you want it to be against?
Gosh, it got to be LSU for me.
That's what I was thinking. The same.
It's gotta
I was
be.
thinking the same.
Do we play Tennessee this year?
No, sadly not. It's unfortunate.
It's got to be LSU. I mean, I remember 2013 or whenever it was. 2013, it was. We were top 10. LSU was top 10. They came here, and it was, Bregman and Nola and all those guys. And it was, they won Friday. Nola threw a gem, and then Stanek shut them out Saturday. And it was like game 3 on Sunday. And it was a big deal. But just remember them getting that final out, and, they were all fired up. I was like, gosh, this is the worst. So, because that series is probably going to end up being the winner of the SEC West. So I think a sweep over LSU would be awesome.
Yeah. No, I think LSU is always going to be everyone's answer. And because winning the College World Series last year, Paul Skeens isn't there anymore, but still, it's still LSU. Yeah. Still got a good thing going down there. So I know it'd be. I think most fans would actually. That'd be maybe a good question to start asking people. Like, hey, what would it be? But I think LSU would be the overwhelming one.
You would think LSU would be the number one. So
because you still have Florida this year that you're going to be playing.
Yeah,
that's a home
weird.
one.
Man, Florida's weird. You just never know what you're going to get from Florida. You're going to get a team that's going to be. They're going to win the national championship, or they're going to look like they won't make the tournament. But O'Sullivan always finds a way right at the right time to, figure it out. And next thing you know, they're in postseason. And you look up there in Omaha, and next thing you know, they're in the championship game. It's like, what in the world? So he always knows the right buttons to press. So
is it just me? Since we're talking about Florida, it seems like Dave really likes and respects Florida and O'Sullivan. I mean, I think he does for almost coaches, but it seems like there's an extra special connection, respect there for O'Sullivan and what he does at Florida with Dave Van Horn.
Yeah, no, I know Coach Van Horn really likes just how O'Sullivan runs his program, and it's probably very similar to how Van Horn runs his. It's like no nonsense. We're here to work. We're here to win kind of deal, and I think they just have a good relationship in general. I think they go out to dinner when they play each other that weekend or whatever it is, but. I think that's just a good business / relationship / friendship, and they've just come to really respect each other and love how they each go about the business and how they each handle their teams. And so, there's definitely mutual respect there, and I think they're kind of mirror images when it comes to programs, how they operate.
So does it bother you just personally, and you can tell us because, there's only millions of people watching, when you see programs that kind of are a little nonsensical? Like, is it something that you're just like, you root against them, or you're just kind of like, or do you maybe say, hey, everybody's different, everybody goes about their own way? Just how do you feel about it personally when you see programs like that?
It just depends on how out of line they are. If you pimp a home run, like, no big deal.
Yeah.
But if you're
flipping off the outfielder as you're rounding the bases,
or if you're like sitting there and it's taking you 10 seconds, you're watching it for 10 seconds and then you throw your bat, it's like, okay, I got a problem with that. But if you want to watch it, admire your work for a little bit, I was a hitter, like, I get it. Like, hey, I finally got one, 97 miles an hour, and I absolutely just pumped that one. I'm going to sit there and watch it for a second. I got no problem with that. But it's the excessive just going over the top, like, all right, dude, like, is this your first home run you've ever hit kind of deal? Like, let's go. Come on. So, over the top, man, that kind of bothers me a little bit. But if it's just a little bit of like, hey, I'm going to admire my work, I don't care. So it's just
what about dugout celebrations? Because they kind of scaled those back. It seemed like at least they put a rule into that.
Yeah, those dugouts are always chirpy. That was a good thing about being in the outfield, though. Is like you didn't hear it much.
Oh, really?
You were always just in the outfield. You didn't hear much. You just heard the outfield yelling at you or whoever it was. So dugouts are definitely. And obviously the guys would come in and be like, these, stuff I can't say. These guys, I'm gonna, they won't shut up and leave me alone, and they know my sister's name, my girlfriend's. So it's just, they're sometimes ruthless. But
who was the chirpiest dugout that you remember?
Ole Miss had to be
really
chirpiest outfield, chirpiest dugout. I mean, they just what you think of Ole Miss is what they were like, probably. Yeah. So
how do you? I mean, I don't know. Those are things where I've had friends tell me about that are baseball guys. It's like, baseball can police itself a little bit sometimes where you get it. But because, fans, if they're watching on TV, they don't, they don't know what's being said or anything like that. So whenever things get a little bit dicey, it's like what instigated this, what happened. But I think everyone's not really surprised that Ole Miss was the chirpiest, especially during that time too. So
yeah, I think, and it's I personally love Bianco. I love the way he's former military man. I mean, like really good, well respected dude, and it's just the Ole Miss way. That's just how it is, And so I don't think that's any kind of a shock or anything.
Yeah.
So
well, did Dave? How did Dave handle if you guys chirped? Does he allow you guys to chirp at all? Or
no,
maybe a little bit if they start chirping a bit.
He was really big on like, hey, we talk on the field. We try not to. Don't run your mouth, like it's going to come back to get you kind of deal. He's big on like, hey, you put your head down, you work, and when you hit a 2-run home run in the 8th, then that's all the talking you need kind of deal. So yeah, he was all about, hey, take care of business, and that'll talk for you.
Yeah.
So
I also feel like he's not that he's changed.
Yeah.
But I've told you, I think this before, that I've talked to former players that friends of mine like my guy Trent, and Trent Daniel and Fick and all that, just how he was very like, hey man, certain haircut, facial hair and everything. I'm not saying he's gotten lax, but have you maybe seen him kind of, Dave, with some of the things like that kind of?
Yeah, he definitely has. The one thing that sticks out to me is the white cleats. I love them, and we had to wear black. We always had to wear the black cleats.
Really? Why was you had a problem with those?
He just wanted everybody to have the same color cleats, and so I think he got relaxed. Not got relaxed, but like loosened up on that thought of the cleats, and the white cleats are just clean. I mean, they are with the red and the hog. I'm like, man, that would have been nice to have. So
yeah.
But yeah, he's definitely, just as the game's gone on, he's definitely loosened up on certain things. You can see it, but he's still very, very professional. And it's like, hey, we're here to work, we're here to win. So that's never going to change. That's who he is in his core.
Yeah, I've always wondered how did he get ejected ever when you were at?
Oh yeah. I mean, he did. I mean, I couldn't recall the game or anything, but yeah, he definitely has gotten ejected
is that?
before.
I feel like it's one of those things to where just being honest. It scares me because I'm like, it's almost like seeing your dad where he's getting mad at somebody else and like yelling at him, and then as a little kid you're like scared because you're like, it's not at me, but I feel like it is. Like, is it kind of like almost like, like how does that feel when you ever see Dave like not only get ejected but start just ripping the umpires and everything? Is it kind of like oh geez, what is happening? Like kind of scary moment a little bit?
Yeah, usually when he gets involved that much, and there's been a lot of stuff that's happened, and whether it's the umpires chirping back at him or it's just been an absolutely terrible game, and usually everybody's kind of behind him at that point where he's like, he's not going to say anything unless it's like absolutely warranted. So everybody else is like, oh yeah, get him, like go get him, Skip, like that, let him have it. So, but there's also some times where managers will get tossed because we're down 8-0. It's like, get me out of here. I can't watch this anymore. So. That's where you see the clips where it's like, hey, I need you to throw me out of here. And then he starts yelling at the umpire. But yeah, it was usually a deal. He's really good about, and a lot of it too is like just getting the umpire to tighten his zone, like whether if it's a big zone or a small zone. And, especially if it's small zone, you get your guy working on the mound and he's missing by an inch. And it's like, come on, man. Like he's working his tail off. You give him an inch. Like that's all. Like he's hitting spot after spot, pitching a great game. And so sometimes it's just to like get a point across, like, hey, like figure it out kind of deal. And so, and it works a lot of times, and, when he does it usually works. So,
well, I've, one of my favorite clips I play in my show, and it was, I don't know why he was mic'd up. He was mic'd up for some reason, and it was on ESPN, and they had it on SportsCenter, and there was a call, and he ran down to the first base umpire, and the clip is just simply, it's very short, but you missed it. You missed it. Just come on, you missed it. Just tell me you missed it. Like, he just says that, and it's so funny to me because, like, hearing him and just knowing that that's kind of like what he would say to an umpire. You always wonder if you're not there at the game, what is he saying? But sometimes just like, hey, you missed it. It's okay. Tell me. Just tell me you missed it. Just tell me you missed it.
And it's sad because you don't get that anymore because of the replay. So in the replay now, it's like, if you miss it, it's like, hey, you missed it. We're gonna show you that you missed it, kind of deal. But yeah, back in the day, it was like, hey, I'm going to tell you that you missed this. You were wrong, and I'm going to let you know about it. So, yeah, it's a little different with that replay. So,
So how do you think, we'll wrap up here in just a little bit, but how do you feel like this weekend for Arkansas? You see, I mean, it's not like you do an advanced scouting report on some of these teams, but as far as what is it just like, hey, go 2-1 in some capacity, it's a success, just how you feel like this can be a successful weekend for Arkansas?
Yeah, go 2-1. I mean, go 2-1. And you play a lot of players, and you see positive things from certain players you weren't sure about. That's what you want out of this weekend. You want to see your team compete against the best competition. Some of the best competition but 2, you just want to see the guys that can and can't do it. So you want to win, at least win 2, win the weekend. You just treat it like a series, win 2 out of 3. I think if you win 2 out of 3 and you get guys some good experience but against good teams, that's a good weekend.
Before we let you get out of here, Tyler, I know Bank of Fayetteville is the official sponsor of this segment we're doing each and every week. So just let everybody know, when they walk into Bank of Fayetteville and they see Tyler Spoon sitting in there, what are the folks that are going to get out of Bank of Fayetteville, and when they walk in there and see you and see the great staff that they have over there?
We're going to see a nice new floor we just got.
Heck yeah.
So it's nice. We just refinished all the wood floors. But no, the bank's been around since 1987. John Lewis started the bank. I mean, it's been in the community for a long time. And we're a community bank. We're not a giant bank. We're not, the Chases and the Bank of America. We're here to serve the community. We want to be involved in the community, help the people of Fayetteville, Springdale, Bentonville, Rogers, whoever it is. We're here for Northwest Arkansas. So it's a good bank, good local community bank, and great people. And I've can't stress that enough, how good of people there are at the bank. And we all work together. It's a real team type deal. But we want to take care of everybody in Northwest Arkansas, of their banking needs, and any loan situation, whatever it is. We want to help you out. So we're here to serve this community. We really want to do that and make sure we just take care of these people of Northwest Arkansas.
All right, that's Tyler Spoon, former Razorback. Thanks to Bank of Fayetteville. Join us each and every week. Appreciate it, Tyler. Have a great weekend. Hopefully it's a successful baseball week, and we can talk about Hogs taking care of business in Arlington next week.
Yeah, let's at least win 2 and maybe beat Oregon State. That'd be nice.
It's almost like you really would feel good to beat that team. Yeah. I almost feel bad for them, because they're like, those players are probably going to feel this heat and anger, and they're not going to know why. They're just not going to know why. But Hog fans know. Hog fans know. So, yeah, it'll be great. So, yeah, but enjoy the weekend, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, John.
Natty State Studio, the sports media palace of Mid-America, the Wolf of Center Street. Here's your host, John Nabors.
And welcome into the final segment here on the John Nabors Show, live from Natty State Sports Studios. As it's been a great show, and really appreciate Tyler Spoon, former Razorback great, joining us in the previous segment, as it's always good to catch up with him. And I want to really throw out there too, folks, some exciting stuff that is going to be happening here very soon for Arkansas, for Natty State Sports. You know, we've been having a lot of great partnerships and a lot of great things, and having great employees and a lot of great success. But we're going to have something that's going to be really, really awesome coming up here very soon. And I can't wait to tell you all more about it and to have more fun with it and to discuss it. But it'll probably have to wait until maybe Friday, we'll say. Let's do that, huh? Let's do that. So it's got football related. I'll tell you that. Football related, because spring football will be here before you know it, and we'll have some breakdowns of not only practices and scrimmages and quarterback competition and all the stuff that's really going to matter the most and that everybody's going to be completely and totally logical about. And I'm excited for it, but just wanted to give a little teaser there, folks, for all of you out there, and really looking forward to it. And also wanted to give a shout out to one of our, of course, we have a lot of great sponsors here at Natty State Sports, and we always appreciate them being a part of it and making it happen each and every way. But I did want to give a shout out over to Manscaped, which is, of course, one of our national brands. And we know that all of us guys, you know, you want to get into the grooming side of things too, and you want to make sure that you're looking good, looking clean in all the right places, because, you know, sometimes Some of us out there look like Chewbacca at times. Well, that's what Manscaped can help you out with. They got not only the beard hedger, but they got the all the great trimmers that you could have to not only your face, but the rest of your body too, to make your significant other feel really good and look a little bit better too. So with that being said, because of Manscaped being a part of Natty State Sports, if you go to manscaped.com, enter in promo code Natty, that's Natty, Natty, you get 20% off. That's right, 20% off your entire purchase. Doesn't matter what you do, 20% off. Oh, and did I say that you also get free shipping? You do as well. So check it out, all the great different various hedgers, as they call them, over at manscaped.com, and enter in promo code Natty for 20% off and free shipping with manscaped.com. So a few of the questions that I know are going to be coming in, and we'll have some questions or some answers for you. So if you want to get in on the chat real quick before we are done here on the John Nabors Show, which is amazing. It's a fast-moving show. We only got less than 10 minutes. There is some other storylines that I am going to want to chime into and get into as well, because some of it's really funny. I don't know if people really find it as funny as what I do at times, but at least here. So, let's do this. I guess I still got the Andrew Cam over there. Since he's not here, we're just going to go ahead and take him out of that. But still, some things that I wanted to bring up that were actually kind of crazy, but also kind of funny. So this thing, I wanted to show this. College basketball, as we know, has a lot of things that happen in games where things get frustrating. I guess you'd just say sports in general. Sports has a lot of frustrations that can be, it's competitive, it gets fiery, things happen. Well, this is something that we actually just happened a couple days ago, but this Texas A&M Commerce, which is actually where Andrew Armstrong went, the football players on Arkansas right now. They were playing Incarnate Word. Game's over, 76-72. Incarnate Word gets the victory. Well, all you know what broke loose, because look at this. It's the handshake line, and suddenly it starts getting a little real. And, players are throwing punches. Like, this is bad. All right? So this is bad as it is. And you feel like they get a good idea of the separation from them. They're trying to get the players, but the group just keeps moving. Some guys fall on the ground here, and you have just melee. You think it's over. Okay, it's slowing down. But nope, then another brawl, and melee breaks out on this side of the court. And then, start getting people trying to hold them back. And, got people, coaches, and then somebody goes after again. This is number 8 in the white jersey, starts to kind of find him a little bit and try to go after him again. And then more melee comes out, and more people are falling down. Everyone's like, get to the locker room. You guys got to get to the locker room. And you got 10 on the white jersey is still trying to fight. Now, 00 is trying to fight. Incarnate Word's looking to fight. And this guy literally had to be held back, like in the most ridiculous way possible. And then you had more coming out, and a little more melee. And then, people are shoving their own coaches and whatnot. And then they're trying to get everybody handled and situated and chilled. Everything. It was just madness. Luckily, there was 12 people there in the crowd to see this type of deal, but this was in the Southland Conference. This is something that they ended up in the story, I guess, itself, was the fact that they had a 8-player suspension for this. And I don't understand how this happens so often. Again, competition gets into people's ways, and people get really upset, and they get fired up. But here's my thing about this whole deal. I'm glad they're suspended. I think they should honestly be almost kicked off the team. But I don't know if what's worse, that this happened, or that it's the reactions of people that is really disappointing. Some, not all, but some people were saying that, we just need to get rid of the handshake line. Just need to get rid of the handshake line. It's causing too many problems and things like this. Because, you saw, I think it was last year in women's basketball, you saw a girl get punched in the handshake line. Or how about this? This is a wild concept. How about you just stop fighting each other? How about you just don't punch people? Why don't you just do the handshake line? Even if you hate them, they made you mad. It's a respect for the game, not a respect for your opponent even. It's a respect for the game. And I have never understood that when something like this happens, which you have hundreds of thousands of handshake lines exist in college basketball all the time, but because of one time, this year where a melee broke out. Even though 99.99999% other handshake lines are fine. It's like, well, we just need to get rid of it. Or you just stop being jackasses and trying to fight. You stop trying to throw punches. Okay? I have never understood people's obsession with trying to take any sort of sportsmanship out of the game. Like, I'm not trying to be lame about it. Like, I think that there are things that you can do in celebrations. I think that there are things that you can do with fun. And, if you want to pimp a home run, then pimp a home run. Like, I'm okay with that. I think celebrations should be allowed, creative celebrations in college football, for instance, as long as you're not straight up taunting the other team or taunting a player. But if you want to do fun stuff with your team, then go at it. I wish that would be the case. I wish that would happen more. But for whatever reason, people just hate having simple sportsmanship things. And I don't know why. So I was really disappointed to see some of the reactions to be, just get rid of the handshake line. No, just don't punch people. Don't fight. Be a man. Shake the other person's hand. If something was said or something was done, then go to the right direction to try to fix it and figure it out. But to just go in full Leroy Jenkins into that handshake line and try to fight people is just ridiculous. So anyways, I just did not like that. I have not liked that. I never will like that, but that's just the way people are for some reason these days. Some of your comments, though, I want to get to before we close up shop here. Leslie says, man, maybe late, but what time is the Arkansas's first pitch in baseball this week against Oregon State? And they are playing down in Texas, right? Yes, they are. The first pitch, I believe, is at 7. I believe it's 7. 6, 7. It's a night game. So I know it's there, and it's in Arlington at Globe Live. And I know a ton of Razorback fans are going to be down there. We're going to be down there. I don't know if y'all heard. We're going to be down there partying it up and having a good time. So we'll keep you updated on where we're going to be and if we're doing any live streams. Texas Live seems like the vibe that we're going to be going for. So we'll keep you updated on where we'll be at. And also, Leslie, wanted to throw this in. I wish Little Rock would rebuild War Memorial Stadium. They got all the money to do it down there. I wish they would. I don't know where this came from, Leslie, but I'm telling you right now, they're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. It's too much money. Yeah, they have the money, but they also have to have the money coming in. And once the Razorback football program takes all the games out of War Memorial, which is happening after 2025, I'm telling you, that's going to be the last game. The last game that they ever do a game in War Memorial for Razorback football. They're not going to spend a bunch of money for what? Like, what would be the biggest event that they could put there that would be able to afford the money? Nothing. So it's just not going to happen. It's inevitable. You can still have high school championships there. You can still have, maybe some other in-state schools play there, whatever it may be. But as far as any sort of major developments or major things like that, it's all over with. It's all over with. So. Well, folks, that's about it for me. Appreciate everybody listening in and watching into the John Nabors Show. Be sure to like and subscribe to it and follow along on all forms of social media for Natty State Sports, as well as our YouTube page. Because, again, we're going to have great content not only all the time, but we're going to have exclusive stuff for Razorback Baseball tomorrow afternoon, as we'll be down there seeing practice. So get a chance to see all the behind the scenes, not only for us, but also for Razorback Baseball getting ready for Globe Life. And we're going to continue to have some fun with that, too. So appreciate you all. For Andrew Ellis, I am John Nabors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow afternoon, live from Arlington. Can't wait to see you folks there. And have a great rest of your night.